And welcome to Next Round Sports, where three knuckleheads who like to drink and discuss sports with each other. We focus on sports in the Dallas Fort Worth area, but we occasionally discuss inferior teams as well. We cover not only all major events for the Big Four USA sports NFL, the NBA, the NHL, and the MLB, but also dabble in soccer and golf to round out of sports coverage. In addition to sports, we cover everyday life topics in our segment, What the F with Jelf. We welcome you to join us as we break down the past week's sporting events and prepare for drafts or generally antagonize each other. Welcome, everyone, to our podcast. We are so happy to have you in here for our inaugural broadcast. I'd like to introduce my two cohorts, Jeff Amos. Jeff, tell us a little bit about yourself, teams you support, and what you'd like the listening audience to know.
I'd like to first offer my car alarm going off in my complex. That's my first addition to this podcast. I think what it is, everyone is just so excited for us to start our show finally. So we're everyone's excited, everyone's celebrated, and
Celebration in the streets.
yes, celebration in the streets, and I thought they were going to stop, but no.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Hey, we'll do it live.
Now.
We'll do it live.
This is not my alarm.
Was it your car?
I hope it's his car.
I know, right?
I hope it's his car. It is his car. That's great.
Hey!
Yes, it's his car.
Hey!
Yay!
That
See, you
Sorry,
had
everybody.
you had to go over the top. I mean, and be
Right.
bougie about it,
Well,
didn't you?
I couldn't bring on a camera, and I got a makeover, trimmed my beard, wore a sports coat, and since some people were afraid to go on camera, we couldn't do that tonight. But
Nope.
those people will
Remain
be
nameless.
nameless.
We'll be adding reels to put on to Instagram, Facebook, so that will all be coming in the future here soon. But Jeff, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and the teams you support, even the teams you despise.
Yes. So again, we, as Chris, you alluded to earlier, we love all sports. We talk about sports nonstop, but we want to make it a fun atmosphere to talk about sports. We'll be at first presenting kind of a bar type setting. You talk with your friends at a bar, you talk about random sports, what's on the TV, what's on your mind about sports, and also uh, with that, random things in life that come in along the way. So that'll be our main focus. And I've been a part, as you have Chris, for even though you're in Pittsburgh now, part of the Metroplex and DFW for over 25 years. We
Mm-hmm.
all three of us have a great familiarity with the DFW sports area, and that's going to be our primary focus. Again,
Mhm.
personally, I grew up in Chattanooga, so I have had teams since I was 6 years old that I've stuck with. I've been a Cincinnati Bengals fan my
Boo.
entire life, and screw you. And I'm a Washington Nationals fan, and I was a fan of them back when they were the Expos as well, just as a kind of a spite for their rival Atlanta Braves. I'm a huge Florida Gator fan, just to spite initially the Tennessee Volunteer fans. Um, as far as NBA is concerned, the Timberwolves are my favorite team, and that stems from the fact that my uh, grandfather went to Duke and grew up watching Duke basketball, and have had that connection to Christian Leitner since then. So those are
Mm.
my favorite
Yeah.
teams, and I one thing is I'm a loyalist. I'm not going to give up on my teams. As we all know, those teams have had many years of sucking royally. as
Many years to
Texas-
go, too.
and many years to go. But again, with that being said, I don't hate the Dallas teams. I love the Dallas teams as well. Obviously, being here, very familiar, up to date, and we'll bring you that every single time we produce a podcast.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate that. All right. Our next partner in crime here, I'd like to introduce Caleb Culver. Now, Caleb, are you going to set your car alarm off now?
Yes, just as a matter of fact, I will.
That was
Out of
not
protest for
staged.
Jeff's.
That was not staged.
Yes, sure it wasn't.
Right. Sure. So yeah, like Jeff said, Porter mentioned, like we're mainly focusing on the DFW teams, Dallas Mavericks, Texas Rangers, diehard supporters in those sports. I'm one of the oddballs for us in the fact that I like professionals better than I do college. I don't really have a college team necessarily I hang on besides UConn basketball. Always root for them, especially in March. Yeah. Now I did have to boo Jeff because he's a Cincinnati Bengals fan because I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan. So our friendship is definitely a little exchanged during, or strained, I should say, during football season. But we usually get together and watch the games as many as we can. So all in good fun. So the Baltimore Ravens, I guess, will be my inferior team according to our mission statement.
Exactly.
But yeah, small town Texans, moved to the Metroplex here recently, working in IT. So
You're
glad to have everyone here.
Well, being from a small town Texas, you can explain to our listeners why you are a fan of the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Defense. Defense wins championships. I played defense, like to hit people on defense. It was always fun. So when I started liking football, which was later in my life, 2000 Ravens defense, fell in love with them. Been a fan ever since.
There you go.
And Mr. Porter, I was just going to say, Chris, explain to the audience why you moved from the great state of Texas.
Yes.
To
No, there was good
suburbia
introduction.
Pennsylvania.
Yep. I will give my introduction as well. My name is Chris Porter. Born and raised Greenville, Texas, just about 45 minutes east of Dallas, Fort Worth. Huge Cowboy fan, Dallas Maverick fan, Dallas Stars fan, Texas Rangers fan, working on influencing and brainwashing my children every single day to be Dallas sports fans while we're up here in this Pittsburgh area. Been in the Pittsburgh area for 4 years now. I moved up with my wife, was offered a job that we couldn't refuse, had to uproot the family and really just, do what was best for us at the time and head up here. But still have my Dallas fandom, still trying to, completely brainwash my children into being Dallas fans before they go to their real school, get a little older, go to the real school, and the Pittsburghness tries to get rubbed off on them. Hoping I don't lose that battle, but that probably might happen. But even though that, I still keep up with all of the Dallas sports teams. I keep up with the Pittsburgh area teams and the teams that they play, such as the Bengals and the Ravens, also the Browns as well, because Cleveland's just right up the road. So I follow them around. The Steelers, I can't root for them, but I still follow them. The
You
Pirates
are just admit it.
The Pirates are which we'll bring this up in the NFL later, but I'll tell you a wonderful story about my oldest son White. In his right when we first moved up here and my in-laws moved to town, of what he did with the terrible towel they were gifted. So don't let me forget to tell that story later. It's a great one. Follow the Pirates. They're terrible though. Everyone in Pittsburgh will tell you the Pirates, but their stadium is beautiful. PNC Park is one of the best parks. If you ever get a chance to come to it, it is fantastic. I highly recommend anyone to come up. If you come up, let me know. I will go to a game with you. I'm more than happy to. It's always a great day at a ballpark. And where I live now, just north of Pittsburgh, we have the Mary Lemieux Sports Center, 5 minutes away from my house. It's where the Pittsburgh Penguins practice. So we've actually gone up to go see a couple of practices of the Penguins play, and that is actually really cool. It's a free event to come in and let the kids come in and actually get to see the players play and get a good view of their practice and everything. A lot of fun and really, beneficial in this area. So we wanted to let everyone know the reason behind our name of Next Round Sports. We went through many different iterations of the name and how we were going to present this show out. And when it came down, we like to talk sports. As Jeff said earlier, it's kind of a, hanging with your buddies at the bar, talking sports atmosphere is what we want to have here. And when it came down to what could we think better is of the next round? Well, what do you want next? The next round, a next round of a drink, next round of say, some of my best memories are meeting up with our fraternity brothers, as we're all in the same fraternity, meeting up with some of our fraternity brothers to go see a fight and having the next round come up, So there's many alliterations that just seemed like a fitting, name for our podcast of okay, let's move to the next round. Hey, let's have a next round of drinks together, drinking whiskey together, having a good time and enjoying yourself and having that next round. So just a little background story of where we came from, of the many names it took us to finally settle on the name of this podcast. But that being said, it's time to move into our very first segment here on Next Round Sports. We want to dive headfirst into Major League Baseball, where we have just wrapped up the Major League, the baseball trade deadline. We've got a lot to talk about here in this segment. Focusing mainly, as we said, about the Rangers
season.
It has been very, very crazy. I've been watching it intently the whole way. As people will find out as they listen to this broadcast, I married into a Yankee family. So I was keeping an eye on the Yankee. Thank goodness for the Rangers being as good as they are now, because I'm able to brainwash my son to be a Ranger fan easier, because they're really good right now. And the Yankees, surprisingly enough, are last placed in the AL East, but yet have a better record than the Minnesota Twins, who are leading the AL Central.
Yeah.
Very surprising, but
yeah, very true.
I digress on that. Let's go ahead and get the elephant in the room, the Max Scherzer trade from the Rangers to the Mets, from the Mets to the Rangers. Fantastic trade.
Yeah, I said we traded somebody, one of our top prospects, but it's a crowded infield for the Rangers. You got people signed through 2028, so why not?
He was our number. He was our number 3, minor leaguer. Your number 3 guy in the system, and to give him up and also get the Mets to pay 35 point something million, so that you're paying 20. So basically, you give up Acuna, and you get, who's the brother of Ronald Acuna from the Braves, to be able to trade Acuna and only pay $22.2 million to have Max Scherzer for a year and a half. You make that trade every single day. That is a fantastic trade. And
now, even though
great
Scherzer
job by
has
Chris
kind of had some injuries recently, he's got a couple of back strains coming in that have cost him some time, and he's not pitching at the all-star level right now, I think. Can he get it back? Yeah, he can. This is a dog you want in a fight, obviously. I'm still happy for the trade, but I'm still saying, he's probably closer to maybe the 3 ERA guy than a 2 ERA guy all-star that he was with, say, the Nationals, or even last year with the Mets.
Well, and but I know that's what he has been this year. But at the same time, he is being reunited with his pitching coach that he had with the Nationals. So
Mike Max, we all agree, is a great pitching coach.
We do. In our opinion, Mike Max is the best pitching coach in the league.
And you got the Bucci effect.
That was yes, and that Mike Max was his pitching coach for the Nationals when he won both of his Cy Youngs. So you're bringing him back. Hey, I don't know what's going on with the Mets pitching. I really don't know.
But it's not the Mets pitching; it's the Mets in general. Unfortunately,
it's the Mets. They're the what was it? The worst team that money could buy is what I've been heard they've been called.
And they've been that way for 30 years.
Well, it's the Mets.
Yeah.
Hey, ask a Mets fan.
You've never had anything close to it. Even when you had Strawberry and all them there.
Ask a Mets fan. They'll tell you exactly.
A Mets fan is probably also a Jets fan. That's the way I describe it.
Not all the time, because my family are the family I'm married into are Jets fans and Yankee fans.
Hmm.
So at least the Giants. I'll give them that. At least they don't like the Giants.
Yeah. Giants at least have a Super Bowl championship recently.
Yes.
And look, the reality is you make this trade 100 times out of 100. Look,
Oh yeah.
Chris, as you said, yes, Luis Angel Cunha, younger brother of Ronald, was in the Frisco Rough Riders organization. I've had the privilege of seeing him play multiple times this year, being so close to Frisco. He's performed at a very, very high level. The reality, though, is when you have Corey Seager, Marcus Simeon, and Josh Young in your infield, there's no room for
There's
him.
not.
And you are contending for a division, and you're talking really about the seventh time in 52 seasons where the Rangers have contended for a playoff spot. So this is a trade that you have to make. This is a trade where
And
I don't
to
care.
see-
I don't care if Max Scherzer is winding down or not. If he's not 2016, 2015, 2017 Max Scherzer, it doesn't matter to me anymore. You have to show an effort to your fan base that you want to win and you want to win now. This is the proclamation that Ray Davis said when he got rid of Chris Woodward and he got rid of John Daniels. And so Chris,
well, you mean promoted John Daniels?
Huh?
But yes, he got rid of him. He got rid of him by walking him upstairs.
Well, no, he got
president of baseball operations or
no,
something.
No. That was before he fired John Daniels this past off season, 2022, and that's why he's supported the Rays. But the main thing is that the reason that they did this, they're following the plan that was provided to the fans specifically by Ray Davis last August, and so they're performing this plan to flying colors. Does it necessarily translate to a World Series ring? We don't know. But the thing is, we have seen an effort out of ownership, quite frankly, that's never happened in the history of the franchise, even when they were performing as well as they were. And so this is a critical move. Not only, I quite frankly don't care ultimately if Max Scherzer is a failure here. This was a successful trade because you communicated with your fan base.
Well, if he's a failure, he's not a successful trade. But
no, it's a successful trade based on PR, and you have to do this trade 100 times out of 100. And
this is the Dallas Mavericks Rajon Rondo trade.
Like I don't think I wouldn't put it right now. I don't think it would be
Rajon Rondo. This is not Rajon Rondo.
It's going to turn out better than that trade, at least I hope so. I'm just saying, sure, you're looking for just a PR.
No, this is someone who's won 3 Cy Youngs.
Yeah, I got to disagree. This is not like the Dallas Mavericks Rajon Rondo, because Rajon Rondo is not the caliber of player in basketball that Matt Scherzer is in baseball. I've got to disagree with you on that. This would, I mean, this isn't even
like trading for almost like Patrick Mahomes when he's washed up, or Aaron Rodgers even.
So you're saying comparing this more to the Aaron Rodgers trade?
I so it's going to this more to the Aaron Rodgers
plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably.
And so to me, you had to make.
Like I say, it shores up the starting pitching. Yeah. I mean, these trades definitely shore up the starting pitching. Like I said, didn't give up too much. It's a great trade overall. I agree with you.
So he's immediately your number one pitcher in the rotation.
Well, especially since with Nathan Eovaldi. Yeah. Well, Nathan Eovaldi got put on the injured reserve. That definitely puts him as the number one, hands down.
And when he comes back, it could be 2.
He could be. It depends on what Eovaldi is doing, which is fine. If Eovaldi is your number 2 because Scherzer's pitching well, I'm okay with that. It's a win-win.
That's a good problem to have, arguing your 1 and 2.
It truly is.
And I don't care if Eovaldi, when he comes back, Max Scherzer is the most accomplished pitcher.
Okay, like I said, that's accomplishments. That's the past. And I know you're a Nationals fan and you loved him and he won a World Series for you. Good job.
You just took the words out of my mouth, Caleb. I was about to bring that up.
Not young.
So,
but,
I mean,
okay.
like I said, I like
going
him.
to
I want
miss
him
that
to the
too.
fight, but at the same time, we got to see what he can do still.
Okay,
This is a new stadium, and we agree. We think he can turn it around and be better than he was with the Mets. But
regardless of what happens here, I don't care if Luis Angel Acuna becomes a multiple All-Star. This is a trade you make every single time.
And we have agreed with you. It's a trade you make every time.
Right. And so I want to also, too, touch on other players that we traded for. You know, we have.
I was about to bring that up right now. Is
the
that
Cardinals trade probably the next big one?
Yep, the next one I was going to talk about is right after this, that the Rangers were able to acquire left-handed pitcher Jordan Montgomery, starter, who's had a phenomenal season. He's been the best pitcher the Cardinals have had all year this year. And they were able to get Chris Stratton, right-handed pitcher, in relief. And the one thing that I didn't hear reported on a lot of this, because I know a lot of nonchalant baseball fans didn't really follow through of like, okay, who's Jordan Montgomery? Who's Chris Stratton? These aren't names we know. I think everyone knew Matt Scherzer. They knew that. Everyone's excited about that. This one kind of went under the radar, but the thing was, these pitchers have worked with Bruce Bochy or Mike Maddox in the past. These are guys that the pitching staff and the coaching staff are very familiar with. They have worked with them in past teams. So they're guys they're familiar with. They know what maybe they weren't being utilized to the aspect that they could be. Because a lot of people were talking about, Stratton's got a high he's got a high ERA. He's not looking too well. I mean, he's decent, but he's not looking too well. Well, the last time he looked really, really good, Mike Maddox was his coach. So it's putting guys in the right situation. I mean, maybe that's overthinking it, but I think that's something that can't be looked away. And also for the fact that we've got both of these players, the Cardinals basically best starting pitcher right now, and a decent, relief pitcher for three minor leaguers that Thomas.
Now you're saying there's three more here,
shortstop,
some of these guys
Roby and John King. Yeah, these are guys. They were lower guys in our system. It's not like we gave up top guys to get these players. And I think we got some solid players and gave up very little for it.
There is Roby, who's number 9 in the system.
True, but if you give up your 9th for a good, solid starter, where if he comes in, he's already your number 2.
The other guys are older, have injury issues, or ERAs in the 10 something. So I mean, for sure. And Roby, I think, is on the injured list anyway. So
to me, this was a steal of a trade. We got a great pitcher that we can throw in who is a great.
Yeah.
To me, Montgomery comes in, and not only is he a serviceable starter that you're going to have right in, and with Evaldi being on the IL, that you can have him as your number 2 starting in right now, but he's a guy that can come in and start a playoff game for you, and you've got a good chance of winning with him.
Yeah. Starting pitching has been shored up by the staff, for sure. Like I said, the offense is one of the best in baseball. I think it's rated number 1 right now, actually. This pitching staff has been shored up. It's fixed, in my opinion. Relief, especially with the earlier edition of Aroldis Chapman, which we've talked about in our we shored the bullpen up some, but one more bullpen arm. I mean, I wanted the Pirates closer. I wanted that Bell to be traded to us, but didn't work out.
Well, we did get the catcher. We did get their catcher. One of their catchers.
We did get the
his offense. He's like
gosh,
a 180.
So horrible though. But
he's got a 187 bat. It's not what you need it to be. But defensively, he's one of the best in the game defensively.
Yeah.
So I mean,
honestly, to keep Duran too, I think throughout all this is a steal as well.
I really thought Duran would be on the trading block to be able to get any of these players that we got.
I thought
for him not to be, I'm very impressed that Chris Young was able to keep him here on the team.
Very true. Because he's in control too for years right now. Now he could be a profar, but he looks good right now.
And again, when you gave up Thomas Sagasi, you're again giving up another middle infielder, which you don't need.
You don't need.
And so, therefore, you have top prospects at premium positions that you don't have a need for. Send those guys away and get a legitimate, I would say, number 2 or number 3 starting pitcher in Montgomery at this point. TK Roby has battled injury issues for quite some time now, and he really hasn't produced at a high level since he's been in Frisco, or even for high A for that matter. And also another thing, Chris, as you alluded to with Chris Stratton, he is, again, as does Montgomery, both have familiarity with Mike Maddox. Chris Stratton has tons of familiarity with Bruce Bochy. He started many games for.
Now, I'm hoping he returns to
San
the curve because
Francisco.
his stats right now aren't great as a reliever. So I'm hoping he returns to the medium, which everyone seems to think he can.
Well, what I would like to see out of Stratton almost is kind of take over that Dane Dunning role, where he is someone that you can maybe ask for to maybe pitch 3 or 4 innings because he has tons of previous starting experience. So if you're able to get him at least to eat up innings and then utilize his relief pitching potential.
Well,
I think
so is Chapman officially our closer then at the end of the year? Chapman becomes closer. Who's our 7 and 8? We just throw people out there for that, basically.
It's a different game now. It's not like what it was 20 years ago, where you have a designated 7-inning guy, 8-inning guy, 9-inning guy. It's all situational baseball. So
I disagree.
You do, really?
Yeah, I think the best relievers and best bullpens have their 7, 8, 9. They have a guy who has a role, he knows what he's doing, and he goes in and takes care of the job.
I just don't think that's very realistic anymore in this age of baseball that we're in right now.
Well, it's never been realistic. It's hard to find.
Right, but you don't aim to get that. You aim to get arms that can throw fast and that are reliable. That's what this game is all about, swing and miss pitching, especially in the relief side of things. You got that with Chapman and Will Smith.
We have one? I wouldn't call Will Smith that, no.
Just because he doesn't throw 120
in my opinion right now, you've got to roll as Chapman. You brought him in. He's your closer. There's no reason to put anybody else in that closing role than a Aroldis Chapman. That's what you brought him in here to do. Will Smith was doing decent up to that point. I think you could put him in as a 7th or 8th inning guy and have him set it up. He's been doing decent enough for that right there. Now, bringing in Stratton, he's been a relief pitcher for a while. Yeah, he's had some struggles. I think you have him in the right position. Maybe he could take over your 7th or 8th. I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, it's a possibility to have this happen. But who knows?
You were alluding to Chris Stratton being your long inning guy, someone who comes in. Okay, if your starter gets batted around in the first 2 innings, you need to pull him. You need someone to eat up some innings. I don't see Stratton being that because we already have with Haney, with Dunning, with Perez. We've got a stack
move to a long distance bullpen.
I see Martin Perez being kind of the odd man out when it comes to it because you can't take Dunning and make him do it. He's been playing too well. Yeah. He's not been the best, but he's been playing the best out of everybody right now. I think Dunning's earned a starting spot. Maybe like the 4th. He's the 4th starting start. Like
I said, Stratton could take that Dunning role, or like you said, Perez with his struggles.
I really see Perez. I see Perez being that guy, being that long. If you need him to come in and eat up some innings, he can come in and come do it with the experience that he's had. I see Perez being that guy right now over everyone else.
I see Perez also possibly falling off the playoff roster.
And that could happen too. But I see that as being his reason of where he could shore himself up to make that playoff roster. If he can come in, if somebody gets batted around, because everybody has a game. Every starter has a game where, nothing's working and they're just getting hit around and you need somebody to come eat innings. If Martin Perez could then come in and eat up some innings and play some solid baseball, just don't give up any runs. Keep us close. Don't stop the bleeding. That's all you got to do. Give up a few hits, but stop the bleeding. If he can come in and come do that, he could help redeem himself, not only in the eyes of the fans, but in the eyes of the coach staff.
True. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll go ahead and jump into a couple of other moves that happened throughout Major League Baseball. The big one right now is Verlander going back to the Astros. Whatever nickname you want to give to him. I mean, no one's an Astro fan around here. But the Astros gave up their number 1 and number 4 top prospects for a 40-year-old Verlander. And I know they had success with Verlander when he came down for Detroit. And I think that the Rangers got a better deal with Scherzer than what Houston got with Verlander. But still, as you alluded to when we were in our pre-talk, Caleb, Verlander has been pitching better than Scherzer up to this point.
Yeah. Now, like I said, I mean, I think some of this is more they traded for Kate Upton, like I joke about, than they did Verlander.
Well, of course.
But right.
But who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? I
Right.
mean, come on.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, Verlander's the old coach. He knows Astro systems and everything. Could he help them? Yes. Does it put them over the top? Like all of Houston saying it does? No, it doesn't. That one player doesn't put them over the top. It just doesn't.
Right.
They need help at first and third, where they have 2 of the lowest ranked positions in the NFL, in the MLB, and they did nothing to fix that. So they basically made a strength stronger. Okay, congratulations.
To me, it was they made that. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you're coming off last night or Monday night, perhaps, where Faber Valdez throws a no-hitter. He seems to be in full form again. You have Hunter Brown, who's pitched really well. You have Christian Javier, and then now you'll have Justin Verlander. To me, those are 4 guys right there that you can count on pitching into the playoffs. And I don't know how many times it has to be demonstrated to where if you have top quality pitching that you can rely upon in the playoffs.
No, I mean, pitching wins playoffs. I think that's the pattern formation. Good pitching will beat the
It definitely
hitting.
does. But I kind of also wonder, was this trade kind of, moved up? Like, did the Astros move in? Because Verlander was linked to a lot of teams, not just the Astros. There were a lot of teams that were in the pool for him. Was this pushed up? Did the Astros make a bigger push and have to put in? Maybe they only offered the number 4 guy in their farm system. Maybe they had to offer their 1 to be able to get him in response to the Rangers getting Max Scherzer.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a response to the Rangers trade, because they saw the Rangers going out and getting stuff, and they said, we've got to too. And they went and got it and paid this super high price for it.
And with this race that they're having, I mean, it turns out better for the Rangers that they were able to make the trade first, because if the Astros would have been able to make a trade for Scherzer, Verlander, whoever before the Rangers did, the Rangers would have been paying a premium price instead of what they paid.
And they got Scherzer way before the deadline too. So
and also too, who knows what the Mets would have asked for after they gave up Verlander. So I think it was critical they made this trade before the Astros jumped in and got Verlander back.
Agreed.
And the other big non-trade
the good thing too is this: Houston doesn't necessarily have as big a farm system as the Texas Rangers do.
They don't.
So depleting their farm system some more, welcome it, because that means Houston's going to fall into a hole eventually. And
you got to have players to replace as it goes along, or at least have players that you can trade out later on. That is very, very true. The other news, Shohei Ohtani, we had a lot of talk about this in previous conversations, did not move. The Angels held on to him. They're still making their push for the wild card, and they made some additions. Trade with the Rockies
to do better. Yeah, they made several trades to get better.
But at the end of the day, I don't think that they actually they got some decent players, but I don't think they got anyone that's going to really help them get over the top. And I mean, if they make it to the playoffs, they make it. I just don't see them making it past the wild card.
No, I don't think so either.
So they just kind of threw everything at the wall and hoped something sticks.
Yeah, I think what they did is they said, okay, we're not going to give up Otani, but we'll quote unquote show Otani that we care. And so we're going to make some minor trades to get some starting pitching without making any major trades. That's why they got Lucas Giolito and Reynaldo Lopez last week to help out that rotation. And so I feel bad for Otani because really what the Angels are doing are just meddling. And at absolute best, best, they'll sneak in a wild card. And once they do, they're not going to do anything.
Well, there's no way they're catching the Rangers or the Astros. Whoever wins the West is going to be one of those two. There's no way they're going to win the division. It's just not going to happen. So they've got to try to sneak in, but they've got to still beat one of those two teams to get into second place to even get into the wild. Well, to get to the wild card, they have to probably beat one of those two teams or have a better record than everyone else in the American League.
No, they just. I mean, the 3 wild card, it opens it up more. Like the 3rd wild card right now is Toronto at 60 and 49.
Yeah,
the Angels are 4 games back right now.
They are, but the thing is, I don't see them making it in unless they get second place in the AL West because the AL East is so stacked right now. You have the last placed New York Yankees having a better record than the central leading Minnesota Twins.
Yeah.
The AL East is really stacked and really close this year. If you don't get second place in the AL West and you're not right behind the leader, I could easily see the 3 wildcard teams coming out of the AL East easily.
The 3rd and 4th place AL West players or teams, the Mariners and Angels both have a better record than Minnesota Twins at the moment.
Yes, I mean that's crazy how crappy the Central is. But there's so much parity and so much in there that yes, you're throwing as you said very eloquently, they're throwing it to the wall to see if it sticks. I don't know if you've done enough to outplay all this other competition you have in the wild card this year. I mean, there are a lot of teams that are really, really close, a lot of really good teams, and especially since the Toronto went out and got the closer, Hill from the Cardinals, who I thought the Rangers were really going to make a push for, who's really one of the best closers in the league right now. I thought there's a huge pickup for the Blue Jays,
Jordan
Hicks,
that can
Jordan Hicks, yes. And I really, because the Rangers were linked to him, he has Dallas ties. I really thought that was going to be a push they were going to go for, but with Toronto getting him, that's really going to help them here in their push. So I mean, the Angels, yes, they're trying to get there, but unless they can at least pull off second in the AL West, I don't see it happening. If they're third in the AL West, I don't see them being in the playoffs.
They had to pull off just to try to make themselves competitive too.
Yes,
that's how far uncompetitive they were. Technically in the wild card at this point stage. So I just don't see them making even a wild card spot.
Yeah. I don't either. I really
the one thing might be, did they show Shoto and Oni enough that they care, so maybe they can build a division around him? Or is he going to say, you waited till my last year and then tried really hard? I'm going to the Yankees or Dodgers probably.
Dodgers, he'd have a better following just because of he's Japanese.
Well, he likes it out in California, supposedly. So
I don't know why it's going to fall off into the Pacific Ocean. Well, anyways, all right. Well, great MLB talk. We hit a lot of great, interesting facts there, and we're going to take a break here, and we'll be right back here in a few minutes, where we're going to dive into some NFL news and happenings going on with the start of the season happening this coming Thursday with the Hall of Fame game between the Jets and the Browns. We'll be back here in just a few minutes. And welcome back to Next Round Sports, as we'd like to celebrate the next round. Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers. I'm good. Yep.
Cheers to the next round. And our next round of information that we'll be going through is we're going to dive into the NFL and a lot of the news coming up. We've got, as I said earlier, we've got the Hall of Fame game coming up this Thursday. We're broadcasting this on Wednesday August 2nd. Tomorrow, August 3rd, the NFL Hall of Fame game is going to be going. That's Jets in Cleveland. And we'll go ahead and start out right there before we jump into the other news. And my question is, will Aaron Rodgers play? And if he does, will he play more than one series?
I think Aaron Rodgers plays, but it's just one series. And he plays because of the comments by Sean Payton. That's the only reason he plays.
There's no way in hell Aaron Rodgers plays.
I think he's in there for. I think he's in there for one series. Yep. If one series, even if it's just one little bit, that they tried him out there just for the press of he's
here.
They're just like they do with Favre. He's here. He's coming in and he's taking. Okay, they'll give him one rep.
No, they won't.
And then he'll hand off the ball, and then they'll take him out of the game.
No,
he's gonna start this game. He's gonna start it.
He will, Jeff.
I guarantee
Come on now, you know it.
I guarantee you.
Oh, we got a guarantee, do we? A guarantee?
I guarantee you that Aaron Rodgers nor Deshaun Watson will play this game.
Oh, Deshaun Watson's not playing. He's going to be getting a massage. In the team facility under strict scrutinizing cameras and everything else, but he will get a massage. But Aaron Rodgers will start this game. He will at least do one snap.
Yeah,
at minimum.
He will make an appearance in this game, Jeff.
Yes,
he's not going to. Neither is.
Yes, he's going to. It's going to be a ploy. It's going to be a throw. It's going to be a throw up to the New York media that he's here. It's not like when we brought Brett Favre over.
Everybody's been making.
Yes, it's going to happen.
It's not.
It's going to happen.
Then you won't see him until week 1.
Good, fine. I don't need to see.
It's going to happen. He's going to be out there. He's going to be out there. Just wait and see. But regardless, it's the start of football season. It's we're back. Even though it's preseason, we're going to see a bunch of guys that will never ever see their names again. That's what it is in the preseason. It's still
fall. We're seeing a football field.
Fall is underway. Fall is on its way.
Mm-hmm. When everything's dying, as George Carlin used to say, football season starts.
And the thing is, I want to talk about this, though.
All right, what is it?
What do we think of these teams come season time? What do we think?
Well, the Browns will be third or last in the division of AFC North. They just will. The Jets will make some noise, but they're not going to do anything. Maybe they make the playoffs, but they don't go far.
The Jets will be better than the Patriots this year. That will happen.
Really looking at signing, apparently with the Jets.
There was a video that came out over the last few days that he was visiting training camp. And the fans saw him and started a Dalvin Cook chant. Of course, it was publicized, but the fans started the Dalvin Cook chant while he was there touring the facilities during
randomly started. Come on.
Yes. Now, it's all for show. I know that. But still, the video came out, and of course, they were going to let him know. Even if they did let him know, the fans at least were like, "Hey, there's Dalvin Cook." I mean, come on.
Right.
I think Dalvin Cook going to the Jets would be very good for the Jets. I mean,
they
had Michael Carter who got it.
They've got a strong.
Well, they had Michael. Well, they had that. It was that rookie, Michael Carter last year, who got injured, who was having a great season up to that point.
Yeah. No, it was Michael.
Or was it Breece Hall?
Oh, it was Breece Hall.
Breece Hall.
Yeah,
they had Michael Carter
good,
too. But Breece Hall, who was having a great season until he got injured. So, I mean, it's still, you add a player of Dalvin Cook's potential to that, not just his rushing ability, but his ability to catch the ball out of the flat. If you have that opportunity to add him in there, you're dumb if you don't bring it in with the Jets because they've got such a good young team.
The Cowboys haven't at least called him.
I thought the same thing. Add him in with Tony Pollard. If I was in the Cowboys, front office, as soon as Dalvin Cook got cut, I'd be on the phone with his manager to find out what's it going to take to bring him in.
I mean, at least
especially
no price even.
Well, especially after Ronald Jones got suspended
Yeah, with the
here the
PED.
last couple of days with the PEDs, and they brought him in as
and
just
Tony
extra
Pollard threatening to
insurance.
hold out too. So
Well, Tony Pollard can threaten to hold out all he wants to. At the end of the day, his leg was broke at the end of last season, as well as he did, and as much as he's done, and we've committed to him as being the new the starting running back. No matter who we brought in, that he was the number one guy. He can hold out all he wants to, but at the end of the day, you are on a prove it year because you broke your damn leg. And I like Tony Pollard. I'm a huge Tony Pollard fan, but at the same time, you broke your leg. You can't command money when you come on. Now, if he wouldn't have broke his leg in that San Francisco game and he just had a-okay game, and we still lost. Okay, hey, pardon the pun, but you have a leg to stand on at that point. But the thing is, when you come off an injury that he had, you don't have the bargaining chips. That's why you got franchise tag, is because we want to see, okay, did you heal back from this injury? Right. We got to know that before we commit to you long term. That's business. I'm sorry, that's business. Yeah. And to hold out, okay, you can. He has that right to do it. But at the end of the day, he's not going to get anywhere with it because you're coming off a broken leg as a running back.
Whole running back market has been talked to death about right now. There's Zoom call and everything. This is what it is.
All set up by Austin Eckler. Well, all the big name running backs got onto a Zoom call set up by Austin Eckler. And the day after that, Saquon Barkley signs a 1-year deal. It was like, well, F whatever they. And in this call, they talked about how they're underpaid and what they need to do to help get that better. And then the next day, Saquon Barkley signs a 1-year deal with the Giants. So it's kind of like, well, I mean, that's the problem.
That wasn't really a fuck you deal. He got basically what he was asking for 3 years. He got it for one.
It wasn't a fuck you deal. It's just at the same time it goes.
It's the reality of what it is now.
That's what it is to be running back. And how many players?
I thought you were saying he signed a fuck you deal to the rest of the running back league. That's what I thought. You were saying.
No. He went. No, but it was at the end of the day. They had their meeting of how are we going to do this. But he then turned around and signed a contract because he was offered one that aligned with what he wanted, as close as what he wanted. So he went for it because that's just the reality of the way it is for running backs. Running back, it's not a dime position, but it's now an undervalued position. So going now in the future, how many kids that used to be running backs are you going to see them start transitioning to receiver, transitioning to running, to transitioning to quarterback,
linebackers, edge rushers,
linebackers, into these higher paid positions? It basically what's happening to the running back is what happened to the fullback 20 years ago. That's exactly what's happening right now. And that's why you don't see any true fullbacks since Mike Allstott, touchdown vulture.
Patrick Ricard's about the last one, I think, on the Ravens.
Exactly. And how many people know Patrick Ricard's name of the casual NFL fans?
Unless you're a Ravens fan, probably not.
No, you don't. And that's the thing, is that fullbacks are a dime. There's no fullbacks anymore because you don't need that. That's the way the game changed. And now the game has changed even more to where it's more of a passing league. Darren Sproles was a smaller guy, but really what he did was he played well above what his height was. I mean, there was in the show The League, which I'm sure everyone listening to this is very familiar with. If you haven't, I highly recommend go find it on Hulu, whatever. Go watch it. You'll love it. It's great, especially if you're into fantasy football. It's fantastic. But Darren Sproles, he was a shorter guy, but really the way he was utilized, not only in New Orleans, but in Philadelphia, that was kind of the telltale of the changing of how the evolution of the way the running back position was going to be. You didn't need these big bruiser guys that came running right down the middle, such as Derrick Henry, which you can still be successful with that type of running back, but the focus has gone away from running. It is now a quarterback-driven league. And to have these smaller running backs, these quick, agile guys that you can drop it off to them in the screen pass or drop it off to them in the flat, and they can go, and they're elusive and can get away. that's more desirable right now than these big bruiser running backs that you've had in the past. So, I mean,
it is. Like, I mean, the Derrick Henrys and Saquon Barkley's, well, Saquon Barkley still has more pass catching than Derrick Henry dreams about, but he's just straight, I'm going to run it up the gut, kill you guy. They're rare now. Like, Derrick Henry is the last one, and maybe the last one we see for a while.
And the last dominant one. I mean, just the way he could take over a game. I mean, talking Dallas sports, Ezekiel Elliott did a great job. He really put it all out there for the Cowboys. They released him at the end of the year, which is what they needed to do to get out from underneath that contract, which was a terrible contract for him. I'm sorry it was, because as good as Ezekiel Elliott was when he first came out, he wasn't Derrick Henry. He wasn't. Derrick Henry is a monster of a human being. He is a wrecking ball coming down the line. And that's why he was able to continue to succeed in that aspect, as the running back position is transitioning to more of a, we're not running up the gut anymore. It's a sneak or something you can sneak in there. You're getting more elusive backs that are having more success than the big power bruisers, unless you're Derrick Henry, where you have your top echelon, the best that you can have it right now, because he's a monster of a human being. I mean, he's like a defensive lineman who's quick as a running back. I mean, come on. I mean, it takes a lot to take him down.
He's crazy.
Exactly.
And his workouts, too, are fucking ridiculous if you watch them.
Well, if you're going to be that big, you have to have workouts that big and still be the best and still continue to keep that.
Well, there's like 3 grown men trying to pull him off a treadmill with a resistance band in one of them, and him running like 5 miles an hour on the treadmill. Yeah. I was like, what? That's his training regimen.
And that's what you have to do to continue to be the best at a not dying, but a being phased out position. If you want to stay relevant, you have to do that.
Especially when we have an old school approach to that position.
Exactly. You have to do things like that to be able to make sure that you can compete, because you have these crazy defensive players, like, for example, Micah Parsons. Yeah, you have Aaron guys Donald. Like this on defense. Aaron Donald, who's just outrageous. You've got Nick Bosa, TJ Watt. I mean, the list. I mean, the list goes on of guys that these amazing defensive players that, a lot of them are now being geared toward rushing the quarterback because of the way the league is, but still at the same time, they're no slouch going up and hitting the running back. They have no problem hitting the running back. They have, and I mean, that's why it's coming down at that position. And speaking, as we are talking about running backs right now, we need to go ahead and jump into this whole debacle going on in Indianapolis between Jim Murphy and Jonathan Taylor, because this has gone from we're buddies to flat out divorce, crazy, ugly mud splattering very, very quickly.
I wouldn't even call them buddy, but Jonathan Taylor basically saying I'm not injured, and the Colts were saying he's got a sore back. We may put him on the injured reserve list.
Exactly, and that's the whole thing, is that it seemed like not buddy, but everything was good and smooth, and everything's going fine until now we're mudslinging each other like we're political rivals. And Jonathan Taylor coming out requesting a trade. Okay. Don't blame the guy. I'm kind of surprised he didn't ask for a trade sooner. But then right after he asked for a trade, then it's being reported that he injured his back during his own personal workouts, and that they're going to be putting him on the not able to perform list. And Jonathan Taylor coming out and reporting, I don't know who your sources were, but I'm not injured. And as it comes down to the details, what makes it very, very sketchy is that if the Colts and their owner, Jim Irsay, lied about him being injured, if he was injured, that changes how he can be paid and how the trade aspect of him can be happening. It actually comes down to that if he is on this unable to perform list, that when he goes into free agency next year, he goes in as a restricted free agent.
Yep.
If he isn't on this list, he's an unrestricted free agent, which gives the team a whole lot of different power over him and his contract availability. So if it ends up, as this story progresses, it comes out that Jim Irsay and the Colts lied about this injury to be able to hold on to him in this restricted free agency. I think that is very, very distasteful on their spot, and there should be some fine, not just fine, something come down from the league on this,
for
because
sure.
this has
Draft
affected
picks
his
taken
whole
away,
career.
Something, yeah.
There's
I mean,
got to
the
be a
players'
lot going on
union's
with
gonna
that.
have something to say about it too, if that's the case. And that also being said, Zach Moss, the guy that's been running with the first teams like Jonathan Taylor, has been out.
Just got injured.
He broke his arm.
Zach Moss broke his arm. He could be out 6 weeks, almost the whole year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've got some problems there with this.
Right.
They're in the Colts.
And they need a running back, which Jonathan Taylor is. So I think Jonathan Taylor.
He's one of the best in the league, and not only on top of that, he's highly intelligent. Like he was one of his top of his class graduating, and actually has talked about how he wants to be in NASA afterwards, and actually has the grades and everything to go into NASA as well, but is playing football.
So he's like that old Ravens player. Oh, dadgummit, what is that guy who wound up going to work for NASA? I'll have to look him up. But yeah, like I said, I think Jonathan Taylor probably starts the year for the Colts. I do.
Well, it could be. I mean, he is threatened to hold out, and they could fine him per practice miss, that kind of.
Yeah.
There's going to need to be a real heart-to-heart between Jonathan Taylor and Jim Irsay, which they had a meeting allegedly in Jim Irsay's trailer before all this happened, and this all came out. So, I mean, it comes down to, is Jim Irsay becoming one of the most slimy owners in the NFL?
Oh, he's been one of the slimiest owners ever since he was with Andrew Luck and the way he handled that whole situation. And John Urschel is the guy I was thinking for the Ravens, who was the math genius and has a PhD. So yeah, I mean, he's been slime and grease. Him and the old Redskins owner Dan Snyder. And I might even throw in
good
Jerry
to say
Jones
old,
but
it is good to say old owner with Dan Snyder, because I am very, very happy he's gone from the league. I've just never liked the guy.
And
not just because he owned
for the league.
Washington.
Granted, this makes it harder probably for your actual Dallas Cowboys, because you might actually have a decent team coming out of Washington soon. But overall, it's good.
We'll wait and see if they have a decent team. Well, we'll have to wait.
Well, they won't have one right out of the bat. It'll be 3 or 4 years down the road, probably. But
at that point, we'll be looking for a new quarterback then, so I'm not too worried about it then.
yeah. True.
But yeah, other holdout news. I mean, other injury news we can talk about through that, since we're kind of on the injury thing right now, is Jeff, your boy Joe Burrow, being carted off during practices. How are you feeling there about your old boy Joey? Is this looking? I mean, it's not good when your guy gets carted off the field, but I know that they were putting up words that it's not as serious as it looked.
Yeah.
It's a calf strain, right, Jeff?
Correct. And again, it's not as serious. It's not a ruptured Achilles or anything like that. He's going to be fine. But again,
I saw the video. It didn't look great. It didn't.
It didn't. No, it didn't look great at all. It did not. It was bad looking. And so you kind of, it's frustrating in the sense that, last year you had the ruptured appendix. And so that, I believe, kind of threw off the chemistry in those first couple games last year. 2 years ago, you had the recovery from the knee injury, and then in 2020 he was in a hospital bed in COVID. So,
so you're saying he's injury prone now?
No, I'm not saying he's injury.
What sounds like to me.
No, he's not injury prone. It's the fact that it's the fact that once again we're going to have another off season where we're going to probably start off the year with a little lack of chemistry, and it's frustrating.
What's going to hurt your season too?
I'm not willing to go that far in saying that, but I'm just saying that it would be nice if everything just started off on a normal level. It's not doing that. And it hasn't, it's never been that way since he's been here. And I think a lot of it's just been really random, unfortunate things. And I don't think it's necessarily him per se. It just sucks and annoying, but we'll deal with it and move on. I think it'd be really premature to say that, oh, this is going to have a huge effect on the Bengals season, how they're going to perform. I think that's ridiculous. I
think it's going to cost them at least 2 weeks to start the season.
Based on what?
I could see them starting a little slow because of this.
No,
they want to take it easy with him. This is their all-star guy. Why rush him back?
They'll babysit him.
Yeah.
Okay, but he's not missing the first 2 games of the year.
No, I'm not saying he's missing the 2 games. I'm just saying that they'll probably keep the baby gloves on him.
But yeah,
and if it looks like, like if it looks like
just like last year, he's not going to play another preseason snap, so that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, which maybe
anyways, talking about AFC quarterbacks. Your boy Caleb Lamar Jackson should be back this year after missing a whole lot of last year.
Yeah. And a whole new wide receiver room.
Got his boy Odell Beckham Jr.
Odell Beckham, Zay Flowers, apparently now called the joystick, according to some of the other Ravens. So we'll see how that goes.
The joystick. Oh, that's cute.
Mm-hmm. Right. How cute. He's got a nickname. So we'll see how that translates on the field. Bateman's still injured and off the side. Duvernay's doing his thing. Laquan Treadwell back to dropping passes for the Ravens like he was before.
Of course.
So he's doing his same nonsense. Backup QB, though, is interesting. Probably Huntley's still going to be the guy.
He's got to be. There's no reason.
Well, they brought in
Johnson to get rid of
with
Huntley.
Some experience, so they're trying to test the market, and they tried to go out.
Brad Johnson? You brought Brad Johnson out of the retirement home? He did win a Super Bowl, so I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Brad Johnson.
Hold on.
Yes, won the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay.
Right. No, it wasn't.
Remember?
No, it's a different Johnson.
No, I remember.
Yeah, I know. I'm making a joke.
Real quick.
Okay. There you go.
I just tried.
Josh Johnson. There
it went over my head. It did not go over my head. I didn't.
It went over your head. Way over your head.
Like you were driving a Prius.
It went over my joke. I just don't know how one day you joke about Brad Johnson. I've been making notes about. I was trying to make notes
Josh
about
Johnson
running back talk.
I don't want to hear your excuses.
Set your car alarm off again.
Stop it. All right. So, anyways, Huntley, it's still going to be your backup. I mean, until somebody knocks him out of it, because he's done nothing but prove it while he's there. How do you two feel, being AFC North fans, about Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers this year?
To me, Kenny Pickett's got bust written all over him.
I'm looking to see a sophomore slump. I really am.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't know. He just strikes me as wrong.
Well, the Steeler fans around up here are all about him because he did play for the University of Pittsburgh. He's from the area. Him. They're all gung ho on him.
It's like when the
Yinzers
came out, not Manziel, even Kyle Murray. Everybody went nuts for Kyle Murray, whenever he came out, they're like, "Oh, the Cowboys can sneak up and get him." It's like, no, they're not trading up to like the number one pick.
The Yinzers are up here just slabbing themselves over with sauerkraut and mustard. they're just all over Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
So I mean, I see a sophomore slump
but
coming up with him.
yeah.
I see why. I see why he had a decent year last year as a rookie. He didn't. He wasn't overwhelmed
he beat out
by the
Trubisky.
spotlight.
Congratulations. You should.
Yeah,
Everyone
that's like
should be
being
able
the
to beat him.
smartest kid at slow camp. I mean, come on.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I was like, it doesn't matter.
Trubisky's not something to like. The minute they signed Mitch Trubisky, I told all my Steeler fans, I was like, really, this is the guy? Okay, yeah, Pickett should be starting easily over him. Pickett beat him? Oh yeah, great.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, I like that Pickett didn't like he wasn't overwhelmed by the spotlight. Like he came in and he wasn't shell shocked when he came in. So I still see a sophomore slump coming up with him, as we've seen with pretty much every rookie quarterback. Every rookie quarterback has it.
Right.
I don't
you get a little tape on you. You find that little tweak, and then
exactly. I don't see them being like the Steeler fans up here are like, we're going to win the North. We're going to be the number one seed overall. And I'm like, okay, tap the brakes here a little bit, okay? Your defense is good, but T.J. Watt has to stay healthy. Kenny Pickett has to not have a sophomore slump, and Najee Harris.
And who's your wide receivers? They don't have any.
It doesn't matter. Pickett makes everyone good. Apparently, he's Aaron Rodgers now. Like prime Aaron Rodgers, not Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, okay. Not the one that like
prime
in the playoffs.
No, prime Aaron Rodgers. So, but that's just a little input here from Steeler land up in the Steel City.
Fair enough.
But like then we talked about the Cowboys,
about their boy, but
and the Cowboys being nonchalant about Zach Martin and his holdout.
Surprisingly.
It is surprising, but I know that they can play their way on that. Zach Martin will get paid. They're trying to hold out. They're going to try to hold out on him like they always do. He is vastly underpaid for what he does. It's true.
But like we've mentioned before, he kind of signed a Scottie Pippen deal.
He did.
He signed this long-term contract for not a lot of money, and now the market is showing that it's undervalued, and he wants to be paid higher. Which is understandable from his position, but at the same time,
it is
because signed his contract.
He did, and he signed the contract, and now he's having buyer's remorse because he is the best guard in football.
Oh yeah,
name a better guard. You
not
can't
another
name
one over him.
No, he's the best guard.
And Peters. I mean, it's hard to even name an O-line person that's up there.
And they're willing to hold out on him for a while.
Might be the only person.
Maybe, Quentin Nelson. I could give him maybe a chance on that, but he is the best on there. Yeah, he signed a team friendly deal, but at the end of the day, they're going to pay him, but they're not. They got to keep their powder dry for Micah Parsons next year. They have to.
Right.
They have to do it. They've also got CeeDee Lamb coming up as well that they have to sign as well. And Zach Martin's still going to be good for many years, for a few more years, but they're not going to blow it all out of the water. But as we're going along through different, holdouts, the one holdout.
I got a question for you before we switch out away from the Cowboys. So as some people or most people probably know, there's going to be a Jerry Jones documentary coming out, 10-parter. Do we think this is going to be whitewashed, or do we think they're going to cover the sex abuse, the Jimmy Johnson debacle at the end of their career? Do we think they're going to get into any of that? Do we even think Jimmy Johnson is going to make an appearance on this documentary?
What do you think?
I mean, you got 10 episodes. Like, that's a lot of content.
There is, but if Jerry's involved in it, it's not. Which, at the end of the day, Jerry has shown that bad press is still good press.
Right.
If you're talking about it, that's good. How involved is he in with it? when they brought it up to him and said, "Hey, Jerry, we want to do a documentary about you," how much did he say, "Okay, you're welcome to everything. I'll talk to you about everything. I'll tell you anything you want to know, and you can publish it."
Yep.
Really? I mean, how? Yeah, of course, how much
no one's
is
going
it
to say I'm an
whitewashed?
open book here.
Yeah,
Talk about my worst days in my
but at the
life.
same time, I don't think he's afraid to talk about the Jerry Jones about the Jimmy Johnson
Jimmy Johnson
thing.
Yeah.
I don't think he's afraid of that, and I think that
I think with time it may have healed some of that, so we may get some more actual answers.
they
out of that,
have, but still, Jimmy's still not in the Ring of Honor, and I think
He's
that
not.
that question is going to be brought up in that, and I think this could be a way that Jerry could say why he hasn't, and in that anticipation of it, that just brings more clickbait to the Cowboys, brings more, I think
Yeah.
this is something that Jerry is strategically using in a way to help bring more publicity to the Cowboys, because at the end of the day, that's what he does. He brings more
True.
publicity in, and he brings them in. He's one of the best marketing guys we've ever seen. He's helped bring the NFL to what it is today. And as much as people
that's
hate
why
him,
he got the Hall of Fame as
where
an owner.
it is.
That's one of
Exactly.
the reasons he got it.
So again, just this is the preview of it. The Netflix is acquiring the new docu-series that centers around Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. The new series will focus on the franchise in the 90s and its ascension to living up to the title of America's Team. It will also feature never seen footage and interviews from the likes of Aikman, Irvin, and Emmett Smith. And so, to me, Jerry's brought up, the question's brought up to Jerry every single year about Jimmy Johnson being in the Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
He'll give his BS answer about it, but it still doesn't change anything. So this documentary, I mean, there could be some interesting footage stuff. It still could even be an interesting documentary to begin with. But there's nothing that Jerry does benefits anything other than Jerry.
Yeah,
So,
like The Last
well,
Dance
sure.
was
We all
supposed to
know
be
that.
technically a Bulls documentary, and it turned into a Michael Jordan documentary.
Of course.
No, well, I mean,
you read the foreword Unguarded by Scottie Pippen, and he even says that was supposed to be a Bulls documentary, and the way it wound up being edited and aired basically turned it into a Michael Jordan documentary.
Well,
he was not happy about that.
Well, because
I don't care what
he has had to be happy. He has had to be happy. There's a reason why he was Robin to Michael Jordan's Batman.
Oh no, I agree with you. Like I said,
So,
I'm not
Guy
arguing
Pippen can
that
hate
point.
it all
was
he
a
wants.
great documentary. I loved it. I loved it.
Oh, it's fantastic. I loved it as well too. It was fantastic.
I want the Bill Winnington autobiography.
I'm sure you do. Well, right before we went on to this, as we were talking about different holdouts, one big holdout that I've been paying attention to, is the Nick Bosa holdout over in San Francisco. And this one, they're playing very nonchalant, just like the Cowboys are with Zach Martin. But I'm kind of curious to see how this one goes right here, because really, Nick Bosa is a top tier. I put him up with Micah Parsons, T.J. Watt, Nick Bosa is the three best defensive rushers in the league. And to have him holding out right now, and them and the 49ers just kind of, it's all right. Yeah, we'll get it worked out. We're not worried. I kind of curious to see what's going on with that.
I think the 49ers are more curious about who's my starting QB. Brock Purdy, Trey Lance. I'm all on the Purdy man.
Brock Purdy.
I say you start him.
They're all on Brock Purdy.
But I mean,
well, Purdy hasn't given them any reason to not start him.
I agree.
At the end of the day,
a whole lot of
Trey Lance,
say you're great.
Well, at the same time, I'm not saying he's great. I'm not. But Trey Lance, before he got injured, didn't show a reason why he should get the job back.
Oh, no,
and Brock Purdy has not shown any reason why he should lose it.
Trey Lance
is a complete bust.
But...
He's a complete bust.
Yeah.
They should have traded him while the iron was hot. It's not going to happen now. But Brock Purdy, I don't think he's their answer.
Brock Purdy's the starter.
I don't think he's the answer, but at the same time, he's not shown any reason why you should not start him.
If you've got a running game like Christian McCaffrey and you've got that defense, Brock Purdy can be your guy and be your Trent Dilfer, even though he's better than Trent Dilfer probably.
That's all you need to be.
He can be your Brad Johnson. He can be your holder.
That's all he's got to be. You just
Even
need him to hand
Tom
the ball
Brady
to Christian.
Was basically a holder.
Yeah, just give it to Christian McCaffrey or drop it off to Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk. You know, that's all you got to do. I mean, you've got the players around. Right. You just need someone serviceable to drive that bus, and Purdy can be that guy. We'll see if he can. Hey, it was his rookie year last year, and he over the top.
There's no tape on him either. So now there's some tape, so teams may be able to tee off on certain things that they weren't last season.
A lot of things to look at here with that.
Well, I just want to add, I think, especially if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, this is a huge deal because once this Nick Bosa contract gets signed, which it will.
Yeah,
it will. It's going to affect the Micah Parsons until next year.
Bingo. This is why you have to watch.
But at the same time, that's why it's been so huge is what is Micah Parsons being designated as? Because he came in as a linebacker, not as a pass rusher, not as a defensive end. So when Jerry's sitting here going, hey, you know, we're going to make him the highest paid at his position. Okay, what position are you talking about, Jerry? Are you offering him middle linebacker money? Are you offering him defensive end money? There's a big difference in those two scales. You're not paying a linebacker when you're paying your top edge rusher. So is he getting top edge rusher money, or is this Jerry, you know, playing with everything the way it goes and maybe going, hey, we're going to make you the top paid linebacker, which is not bad. You're making a lot of money at that point, but you're not paying him Myles Garrett money.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So this goes back to why the franchise tag is the most fucked up mechanism.
It is.
But at the same, they can franchise tag him as the linebacker, like I think you're getting that.
True. But as it comes down to that, that also says about what kind of player is Micah Parsons. Does he want – do I want to get my money? Do I want to get my money now? Which is okay. He's in every right to get his money now. He deserves it. He absolutely deserves it. Or is he that kind of player like, hey, all right, I'll take that linebacker deal, and you take the rest of the money that you should be paying me, and you go get somebody else in here to help us win a championship. What kind of player is he going to be? And either way he goes with it is okay in my point of view because he deserves the money. I'm okay with that too. And the reason is because you have to have Micah Parsons on this team. You have to have him. He's one of those generational players. So if you pay him and you have to pay him to stay here, you pay him to stay here. If he's willing to take a little less money to help bring another great player in to help win a championship, that's what you need to do.
Great.
Either
he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that.
I'm not saying he's going to do that.
Yeah. I mean,
either way, you're okay.
Yeah, it's either way. Yeah.
Either
way,
he
deserves the money. If
you
he
have
wants
to
it,
do
great. Pay the man. He's a generational talent. He's basically the
you have
Shoto
to
Otoni
pay.
right now.
You cannot let Micah Parsons walk away. You can't.
Yeah.
You have to sign him long term. If he's willing to take less money to let other players come in to help win a championship because he's a team player and he knows I'm already making generational money. Let's get other players in because I want to win a championship because that's more important to me than outstanding money.
He's just managing his money very well and he's got $10 million in the bank and gets $10 million more a year and he turns that into 20 or something.
That's what you hope for as an owner. However, if he just goes, I want to make as much money as I can right now, you know what? There is no reason you don't pay that man because he is the best defensive player in the league, in my opinion, you have to pay him. You have to keep him there. You cannot let him walk away in free agency. You can't let him leave.
Yeah.
Because if you do, you're going to regret it, and you're going to lose every one of your fans for it. If you let
you're
him
gonna be
walk away.
vilified if you do that. Which is not what Jerry Jones loves the spotlight and loves the adoration of fans. So
he loves it. Absolutely loves it.
He's not
Absolutely
letting him go.
And he won't. He will pay him. If it comes down to it, that he'll
Mhm.
pay him. But I guarantee it that he's going to have the conversations of, well, hey, Micah, if we go ahead and pay you as a linebacker, we
I
can
don't know if
bring
he
in
has that
some
exact
more players to
conversation,
come
but
out.
yeah.
No, I'm just using. I'm
Mhm.
saying that
Oh, I
in
know.
Jerry's
You're
voice.
just trying to use
Yeah.
your Jerry Jones impression. You just wanted
Yes,
to get
exactly.
that in.
Exactly. I did want to get it in.
The dirty
Because
old man impression.
if we can get other players, if he can convince him to take a little bit less to help get other players in, to help them continue to help build around him and bring in other players, because that's where it comes down to is there's only so much money that can be spent. And if you want to get paid, you have to pay the players if you want to keep them. That's the way it is. So even if you've got, they're in the top tier, they're still making generational money. Even if you're not making the top of the cream, you're not the highest paid defensive rusher. Even if you're not, it doesn't matter if you're the 8th best paid player at that. You're still making generational money as long as you're managing right. You're not going out and blowing it on buying 8 Lamborghinis or something. As long as you can convince the players, hey,
Yeah.
you're making money that can change the rest of your family's future from now on. Yeah, we're going to pay you less than what you probably deserve, but we're doing that so that we can put together a team to win a championship and build your legacy.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make that
Yeah.
spiel. You've got to, because if you throw all your money into one player, you have to skimp out at other positions, and you can't get the best players unless you get players to buy into that. That's the whole part of the negotiations and everything that happens in the NFL when you have a salary cap. That's just what it is. Now the salary cap will go up in the next few years. It always does. But at that same time, it's that negotiation and how much does this player that you have, who is in Micah Parsons' position, a generational player, what's more important to him? Is it getting paid or is it winning championships? Throw it over into basketball. Carmelo Anthony, when he re-signed with the New York Knicks. Oh, I did this because I think I'm going to win a championship. Bullshit. You sign back because they could pay you the most money. That's fine. All you have to go out and go, hey, I want to get paid the most amount of money. Good for you. You deserve it. You earned it. But don't lie to me and tell me that you did to win a championship with the Knicks, because it wasn't. Sorry to get on basketball, but that's just one circumstance where it came out that kind of pissed me off.
Right.
Come out and say, I want to get paid. Guess what? You've worked your entire life to get to this point to get paid this money. If you want to get paid, by all means, go get paid. I'm not going to get mad at you for saying that and saying I want to get paid because I've worked for this. Good for you. But if you come out and say I want to win a championship, take the lesser deal and help get other players in to help win that championship if that's really what you truly want, if that's your goal in life. So we'll just see what happens, with Micah Parsons with that. And if he wants to get paid, I'm not mad if he wants to get paid. If he wants to get paid, by all means, pay the man. He deserves it. He's earned it. But if he comes out and says, I want to win championships, but he's taking the max deal, no, you don't want to win championships. You want to get paid. Come out and take the max deal and say, hey, I want to get paid.
Right.
Fine.
And I think
good. You deserve it. I'm not complaining. If Jamar Chase did that for the Bengals and said, hey, I want to get paid. Pay me the highest that I can get because I want to get paid. Are you going to be mad about it? No. I don't think you are going to be. Are you going to? Or would you be?
No.
Or would you let Jamar Chase walk? Did we lose Jeff?
Yeah, we lost you.
No, I'm not going to be mad about it. No, he's within his right to do that. So,
exactly.
And again, we'll see what's funny is that the owners are the ones, particularly Jerry, that created this franchise tag system. And then this is the world they live in. And they say, oh, well, we can't pay everybody. They're the ones that created this rule. So,
yep. All right. Before we go ahead and bring it to a break, were there any other NFL storylines, anything else that you guys were wanting to touch on before we move on to the next round?
Yeah, just one final thing, actually. Back to kind of entertainment and sports and NFL. So I don't know if y'all know about a TV show called The Quarterback, which is on Netflix. Very good documentary, gets you into life of like Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins.
I've heard a lot about this.
Very good documentary.
My
Joe
brother-in-law
Burrow
brought it
has
up.
declined being on it, and so has Lamar Jackson.
So both of the quarterbacks are prima donnas.
Pretty much.
Yes.
So they didn't want to be in it. So I was just curious, with those two being out of it officially, and they're not reusing the same four they did last time, so Mahomes won't be in this. Who do y'all think you would like to see in it?
Well, of course, I'm going to say I want to see Dak in it. Of course, I'd like to see him there. Honestly, with they should put Justin Herbert, the highest paid quarterback at this point right now, after his recent signing of his
coming
contract.
back from injuries too. That's interesting.
I think he should be one that is in it because of what the storyline you bring in. I think they should put Mac Jones in with the Patriots just because of him trying to fill in Brady's shoes and dealing with Belichick. I think that could be a very interesting storyline there.
Interesting one.
And after that, I've got two that I'd probably put in. The first one would be Russell Wilson in Denver and what he's doing now in Sean Payton's offense, if he's actually succeeding that, or if he's truly done, as we saw. The only other one I could say besides that would be Derek Carr in New Orleans, and what's he doing there with everything that he did with Oakland / Las Vegas, and the way he was unceremoniously kind of dismissed there by Josh McDaniels, and what he could do there in New Orleans. I think those are all interesting storylines I could see. The most interesting storylines to me as far as NFL quarterbacks to come in.
Understandable.
Yeah, I mean,
I
agree with that too as well. I think Trevor Lawrence would be interesting as well to see. But yeah, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow all said they're not participating.
There's only one other.
I'm kind of surprised neither one of y'all mentioned, and I may be still in your thunder here, Porter. Now, either of the Giants QBs, Daniel Jones, the rookie who got paid, while Saquon Barkley didn't, or Aaron Rodgers with the new team and the Jets.
Well, those definitely, I could see those going right there. Those actually weren't the ones I was about to bring up. The only other one that, to me, those would be definitely higher up as far as like marketing money wise, because it's New York. The only other one that I could see that it would be kind of my dark horse, my second tier, would be Ryan Tannehill. What's going on in Tennessee? To me, that's a more interesting story than what's going on with the Giants. But that's also going to go for a more NFL fan who's more of a fan, not just a Tennessee Titans fan, but more of an NFL fan is going to be more interested to me in that than they are in what's going on with Daniel Jones, because it's Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and we're going to get enough coverage already from New York, so I would like to see some teams that maybe are not marketed well enough, but then have some interesting storylines, whether or not how their future is going to be interpreted for the rest of their
Or even talking about Geno Smith in Seattle, in the way that he's had to bounce around the league before he finally, for how many years it's been until he finally was able to secure that spot in Seattle and
Yeah.
succeed last year. I think that is a great story as well. Because I mean, he started with the Jets coming out of West
punched
Virginia.
a player and basically got thrown out of the locker room.
Jumped all over the place. I mean, in what he's done to finally get his foot and succeed, I think that's a great storyline they should put in right there. Just because you'd get a whole season just out of just following his career. So
right, and I think it's a little, with Mahomes, we know he's the best. So what else is there to say? It might be kind of interesting.
Well, my brother-in-law actually watched this show and said, he goes, I watched it. I recommend it. He goes, it's Mariota. He goes, Mahomes comes off as slightly a little bit of a douche. And I go, well, look at his brother.
Yeah.
I mean,
and look at his wife.
And his wife, who's annoying as hell. But he goes, Kirk Cousins, he goes, I didn't really like Kirk Cousins, but he goes, now I kind of want to go drink a beer with Kirk Cousins. He goes, he looks like a guy I would like to go hang out with.
Yeah.
And that's the number one reaction I've gotten from this series is that people actually have respect for Kirk Cousins now and like him a little bit.
Yeah, like he's a likable guy. He's a guy you'd want to say, like he come over to your house because he's got a bunch of kids and not as many as Philip Rivers, but
no.
But his kids would play with your kids. They'd have fun, and you could sit down and have a beer with him and have a great time. And it wouldn't be awkward. You just have a good time hanging out with him.
Right.
Hey, I drink a beer with Kirk Cousins. I don't care.
Hell yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, might as well.
Well, we're going to go ahead. That's great NFL talk. We're going to go ahead and wrap that up there because we need to get ready for the next round. And we'll be coming back with everyone's favorite, and it's our favorite, but it's everyone's soon-to-be favorite segment, favorite round.
Yep.
What the F with Jeff. We'll be back here in just a few minutes. What the f? And welcome back from the break as we're ready to get into our favorite round of the podcast, and that is What the F with Jeff. So, Jeff, what the F?
So I hope this wasn't too weird or uncomfortable for anyone this weekend or for this show. But this weekend, my sister and brother-in-law and my niece came into town. My sister-in-law, who's married to my brother Chase, as y'all both know, we decided to throw a surprise anniversary / birthday celebration for my parents this weekend. And so my mom is turning 70 years old. My parents have been married for 50 years at this point. So we had our local family come in and all my mom's friends come in and we celebrated and we had a great time. We played old music. We set up a playlist that was strictly just 60s tunes and 70s tunes and all that fun stuff. And the only reason I bring this up is that, and I wonder for y'all, if y'all do family get-togethers or to this extent, say we had probably about 25 people, and my mom was okay with it, which I was surprised. Well, she's not an emotional person, so I wasn't surprised. But I guess I was surprised with my dad. He said that night, and he said afterwards that he equated the family celebration almost to like a wedding or almost like a monumental event of some sort, and he got emotional, which was really weird for me. There's only been a couple times in my life to where I saw my dad get emotional, and it was weird for me. I didn't start getting emotional myself, but it was a weird deal for me. We had a fantastic time. I was just wondering for y'all, because it's a rare occurrence for us, for sure. But if y'all have family and friends gatherings, and if it gets emotional for y'all, or do you enjoy it, or is it even weird for your to see family members get emotional, and how do y'all react to that? I mean, I know not to get like, you know, the view on here, but it was just a really fascinating situation for me, especially as we're both approaching our mid 30s and almost 40, and I was wondering now, as opposed to how we were in our 20s, where we didn't care about anything other than going to the bar and surviving and paying our bills. Does it give like a different um, do you have a different perspective as you did, say, 10 or 15 years ago as you do now?
Well, Whoopi, I do kind of. Since you made a view comment.
Shut up. Whoopi, it's not. I'm not bringing on special guests. We don't have the money to hang it. Maybe we
Caleb,
will one day.
I'll let Caleb go ahead and go first, and I'll take the second to this.
Fair enough.
I just wanted to make the Whoopi comment.
Go ahead. Might as well.
Yeah. Oh, I was trying to remember the other comedian, but I can't think of her name. The big dumb comedian that nobody likes. But anyway.
Amy.
Yes. No, not Amy Schumer.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah, maybe that's who it is. Actually, yeah, I think it is. But yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, things change. Like, I mean, we get older, we see things differently than we did when we see things as children. Like, there's more behind the scenes shit we know about, like whether it's medical issues, tough times our parents went through that we learned later in life, maybe sacrifices they made for us type of things, and just even other cousins, and knowing more kind of their backgrounds as we've gotten older with them and learning about them as people. So I think you do see things differently. And it's always weird. Like, I think you and me are in the same spot with our dads where they don't show emotions. So it's weird to see emotions coming from that male authority figure, which is, has totally been noted as bad for the male psyche overall. But whatever, we're alive, we're here, we're doing it live. But also at the same time, it is a rare occurrence, I think, to get that many people. Now, on my dad's side, every Christmas, Thanksgiving, they used to do it more even for like, they had every month's birthdays, April, September. We would go and we would meet almost my entire dad's side of the family one weekend. So it's not necessarily unusual for me to see 20 people in a room or something with family. Now, my mom's side, it's a much rarer event. We get together with more than just, say, one group of cousins or something, only every other 2 years. And there's like 50 people at that event. 50 to 100, I should say. So it kind of depends too on how your family is, and even my sides of the family are different. So basically, it's kind of rare, but not rare at the same time for me. But yeah,
right.
I say life stages, you do see things differently. I do agree with you on that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
congratulations, by the way, to your parents.
Yeah, congratulations to your parents. That's a great feat.
I'll
7 years, but 50 years of marriage. 50 years of marriage. That's a big one. That's a crack an old bottle of wine.
Yeah,
for
sure. Very old one.
Well, see, with family gatherings, it's kind of been a whole different thing with my family. On my dad's side of the family, everything is run through my grandparents, and so everyone's walking on eggshells all the time. There was never any drinking. There's nothing bad going on. You go to a family reunion or anything on my father's side of the family, and it's typical Southern casseroles everywhere.
Yep. That was my
People
dad's
talking
side.
about that, but there's no alcohol involved. None whatsoever. You don't even bring it up. That's why I pre-gamed before I got there, always. And on my mom's side, which is now, since my grandparents passed away, has been very sporadic. As it used to be very close. We used to do things all the time together, but it doesn't happen anymore. And that goes into deeper things that have happened between my parents and my mother, her family, which I won't go into details here. I'm not going to air out family business, but there's there's a little bit more boozing going on right there and things that happen along with that. I mean, as you get older, you start seeing things in your family that you didn't see before. Like, as you're all growing up as kids, it's, you just see the kind of Disney version of the way everything is and the way things go. And you just kind of, hey, that's the way it is because it's the only thing it is, because that's the way you're raised. That's what you were brought up in.
Yep.
It's your family. That's what it is.
It's like going to a friend's house sometimes when they got different rules. You're like, you can stay up this late? You have a TV in your room? What the hell?
Exactly. Exactly. And you kind of start seeing those things, especially when you marry into another family, and you start seeing how the way that family works and the way that family runs their things. And that's really even more than just going over to your friend's house. Now you're married into a family and you're learning how things are going there. And then you have to adjust what you've done your entire life into a way another family does things, in a way that they do things. And especially in my case, where I married a girl from New Jersey. I'm from Texas. I married into an Irish Catholic family. Time, and in my family, we talked maybe once a month. It's
right.
Completely different situations, and the way that you start appreciating different things differently, and you start seeing things differently, and the way that you were raised, the way, whether you liked it or it was good or bad or whatever it was, and just you have a different way of seeing things from the way you see how other families work and the way that they've always done their traditions. So just for example, before I married my wife, my St. Patrick's Day before meeting my wife was drinking as much green beer as I could get my hands on. Since meeting my wife and marrying into an Irish Catholic family, St. Patrick's Day has become one of my all-time favorite holidays because I'm getting corned beef and cabbage with boiled potatoes. And I'll tell you right now, it's one of the best meals I have, with Irish soda bread. I'm not the biggest Guinness drinker, but you know what? I have Guinness or Harp every St. Patrick's Day. I get a bottle of Tullamore Dew and have, I go full Irish when it comes with it. And that's not something I did before I met my wife, and that's just one different thing because I'm married into an Irish Catholic family, and St. Patrick's Day is a big day in the Irish, community. And having the traditional Irish food, I love it. I look forward to it every year. I tell my wife, let's have corned beef. I want to have it. I love it. No, we're a little too close to St. Patrick's Day. I don't care. I want to eat it. It is delicious. So that's one thing, is things that change that come in with it, because that's something of marrying into a family and coming into that, and then changing the way that my entire life was before, that we never celebrated St. Patrick's Day. Growing up as a kid, when it was St. Patrick's Day, it was like, okay, just make sure you wear green so you don't get pinched.
Right, exactly.
That was the extent of what I had, and then I marry into an Irish family where I'm more immersed in Irish culture, and my wife will even tell me I'm more Irish than she is when it comes to some things because of how much I appreciate it, because I really enjoy it in that both of my children are little blonde-haired, blue-eyed Irishmen. I've told her I've done my contributing to the Irish community by making more Irishmen. But not to dive too depth into, because every family has problems, and you have problems with your family and different. I don't want to deal into mine. This is not the space for that. But
right.
when you come into these family things, yeah, it is hard in different ways. And when you deal with your family, that's the people you love because you have to, and you get annoyed by the most because of what everything's happened. But as you get older, the way you look at things do change. That's normal. That's the way that it is. I know that my kids, when they get older, they're gonna start becoming adults. They're gonna see things different the way it is there, and that's as a parent what I'm gonna
opinions and everything.
I'm gonna have to adjust as a parent at that point to, do I need to be right or do I need to have a relationship with my child? And that's a conversation that a lot of people have, and it's a hard one to come to, and a lot of people deal with, and something that everyone can deal with, not just parents, not just kids, not just dealing with family. That's just the way that it is, and you have to deal with family the way you have to deal with family, and sometimes at the end of the day, they say blood is thicker than water, but if you're being treated wrong by your family, there's sometimes you have to do what's best for you, and you have to make a cut in your life.
Right.
And that's not, and a lot of people don't think that's the right thing to do, but you know what? You need to do what's right for you at the end of the day. If it's right for you cutting someone who's toxic out of your life, then you need to do it. And you need to do what's best for you and make sure that it helps benefit your life. Don't do it just for any small reason. It doesn't need to be for, oh, my parents didn't give me money because I wanted to go see this concert or whatever. So I'm not talking to them anymore. I'm cutting them out of my life. No, it's not something like that. It needs to be, if you know someone in your life is toxic, you need to know. And you need to know that, yes, even if they are blood, whether it's your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, grandparent, if it's someone toxic
even
in
a
your
close
life,
friend that's not
even a close
blood
friend,
related.
you need if that's someone you need to cut out of your life to make your life better, then you need to do it, because if it makes your life better, it makes your life better at the end of the day. You gotta live your own life the way it goes. So there's my soapbox. Done with it.
Right.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So you guys got anything happy you want to talk about on this?
No, I'm good. No, I did. Sorry, I knew I froze. I did tap out because I'm getting too emotional. I promise.
Sure.
No, but
do you need a tissue?
No, I don't need it.
Where's the
It's okay,
where's the tissue? Can I send a tissue emoji to you? Will that work?
No,
Will that work?
no,
Is there a
okay.
tissue emoji? I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
There should be.
Well, there's
But,
there's these TikTok people that are acting like NPCs now, that you can just sit there and act like something, and I can send you like a hot dog or something. You can be like, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Have you heard about these idiots? Like they're making like thousands of dollars acting like
talking about
freaking morons.
No.
Ah, God.
No.
That's where I realized that, maybe Skynet should just take over,
No, stop it. The thing is, stop it. But no, I'm glad we can bring some levity to the situation, which is it's Chris, like for me, as both of y'all know, Kelly's family extends to 600 people. Mine extends to 6. So, so basically, Kelly's my wife. So basically, she is able to talk to everyone and communicate with everyone. Tells them that we love you, great seeing you again. Like it's weird to say like I love someone. I like never say I love. I don't never. I never say to my mom or my dad that I love them. It doesn't mean that I don't love them. It's just that that's not
Yeah.
something we ever did. And if something
Right.
is, and if my dad were to ever say that he loves me, or if my uh, mom said that she loved me, or vice versa, there's probably something wrong. And so it's just
So
weird for
yeah,
us, or
no,
for
I feel you.
me.
Like sometimes my
It's
family
just
was just like the one off the ranch too, where it's like, that's one hug. What? Are you dying?
yeah.
Or
Well, it's
someone
just
to
like
say
You
I love
really,
you or something.
you're really bringing, the tear factor here on this first episode. You have to say like it
well,
wasn't
no,
no.
no,
You're ramping it up here right at the beginning. Like, wow, we're really gonna have to. You're really gonna have to really keep on top of this segment here from now on if you're bringing
I
this
know,
one here.
but
But
it was just a deal. But y'all know what I mean, right? I mean,
Oh
I don't.
yeah.
It's not. It's for some people or kids talk to their parents. It's like, oh, you
Yeah.
tell them you love them. No, no big deal. That's fine. But
Yep.
for me, it's just like
It's not
if
something
I
my
say
dad
that
ever said till
something,
recently,
some,
or I ever said to my dad till recently.
and it's just so like, oh, I don't. I just we don't say
well,
that.
for me, yeah, we've said that. Like to me and my parents, will say I love you. We've said that. The strain with my parents is there have been a lot of since my first son has been born. There's been a lot of contention between us,
And
and
we
a
won't
lot
go
of
into the
that.
details.
No, I'm not going to go into the details of a
Yeah.
lot of that, but even that, it comes down to it doesn't mean of just saying I love you because I still love my parents. I do. They're my
Right.
parents, but I don't like the way that they've handled different situations, which I'm not going to go into
Sure.
details with, but
Mhm.
there's just ways that could be handled better. But like here, as of recently, I've with my in-laws, I tell my mother-in-law I love her every time I see her because I do. I truly do. I
Mhm.
have great in-laws. I've told my father-in-law I love him. I do because they've treated me like a son since they brought me in, and I thoroughly love my in-laws. Like they've done nothing but good by me and my family. I mean,
Mhm.
love them to death, and they treat me just as if I was a son that's always been there. And that's all you can ever ask for when you have your in-laws. A lot of people say they hate their in-laws. I know, Jeff. I know you don't hate your in-laws. You're just like me. You have great
Mhm.
in-laws.
Right.
You
Yep.
really do. I wish my wife had great in-laws. I, hey, they're never gonna listen to this anyway, so I don't really care. But I have great in-laws. Love them. I love them to death, and I do tell them and yeah, I didn't tell them right off from the get-go because yeah, it's something that I felt like I needed to earn and everything, and they showed it to me that I earned it, and so I tell them because I do. I truly do. I do believe I've always said, using love is a important word. I've never used it as something as you just throw around willy nilly. It's something like you truly have to earn. You have to you have to make. That's why even before I met my wife, whenever in my dating world, I rarely use that word. I think I used that word twice before I met my wife, and I met my wife when I was 30. So says a lot that I only use that word a couple of times. It's just
Mhm.
it's a very important word to me. So, uh, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's an important word to you as well, Jeff, because hey, if your parents told you that, hey, okay, something's wrong. That's the way some families work with that. They don't throw it around willy nilly. Like this is something
Right.
that's that means something's wrong. I seriously am, hey, something's wrong.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, about all I got on that right there.
Yeah.
Very nice.
No,
I
go
understand.
ahead.
Hey, we've all put in our points. It's difficult dealing with family. It is, and that's why we love them. We hate them. You're attached to them no matter what. You just have to go with it from there. So I mean, everyone deals with family issues. It doesn't matter what it is. If you have a great family, you have a bad family. Even people who have a great family, they still deal with issues. It always
Oh, sure.
happens.
That's
It
the thing.
always comes up in every which way. And then you have, like my little brother who moved away to Germany.
So I'm
Hey,
out.
Xerxes.
golden child. He doesn't have to deal with anything until he comes back, and then he tries to fix everything. He's like,
Hatred.
then he comes back. It's like, F this. I'm gone. Done. Screw you, assholes. No, I'm just kidding. I know he'll listen to this. If I tell him about the podcast, he'll listen to it, but he'll get a good laugh at it. And I don't mean he'll will towards him. I'll just bust his balls. But we
Oh, hold on, Chris.
Yeah. Froze again, Porter.
Or come back.
am I here?
Where did
Hello,
you go? Oh,
Marco.
Your voice is back, but
Marco.
there you go. Yeah,
Marco.
you're all back. So you're basically ending the
the
segment. You were starting the end of the
you're
segment,
going
I
to
think.
do,
Where you
but
wanted
will that, and then it's where it cut off.
Okay. What did I say? But before, but will. Do you remember?
No, you're talking about your brother. He is going to listen to this, and then
Yeah, you were
Yeah.
busting his balls.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. But I know he knows I'm messing around with him. I'm not gonna love the guy to death, but I'll still bust his chops because he's my brother. But anyways,
As you should.
we'll go ahead and wrap up What the F with Jeff. We'll be back here in a minute with a little bit of sports gumbo.
That's good. That's good. Man, that's good. That's what you call gumbo. Poor man gumbo.
And welcome back from the break as we're ready to round out the end of the podcast here with the sports gumbo. And I want to throw the first segment right over here to Caleb. Caleb, go ahead. Yours to run with.
So everyone's favorite soccer player, except Porter's, Lionel Messi.
Oh, no, Cristiano Ronaldo? No,
not Cristiano Ronaldo. Number 2 in the world is Cristiano Ronaldo. Lionel Messi is the number 1 player at the moment.
Oh, Messi. I thought we were talking about David Beckham here.
No.
You got to bend it like Beckham, but no.
Yes,
Messi has a
bend it like
chance to
Beckham.
play at FC Dallas. So this coming Sunday.
Yay. The
He can bring his
peasants
pink
rejoice.
unis.
The peasants rejoice. Yay.
Peasants can't afford the ticket. That may be the problem.
Exactly. That's why it's
hopefully we
the
can get
peasants
some
rejoice.
But so big news for FC Dallas. Maybe the biggest match they've had in a couple of years since they haven't really made the playoffs.
More like ever. This is Messi coming in.
Oh, God.
This
You have
is the
old
biggest-
Messi coming in. Whatever.
Oh, Messi, he's scored like 4 goals.
Hey,
Hey,
old Messi. Okay,
they've had a better reception at Pizza Hut Park when Jimmy Buffett came in.
What?
This is
Get out of
this is
town.
Hey.
Messi.
Don't you underestimate the parrot heads.
You're just fully frozen right now. Just because you're fully frozen.
Oh, I'm fully frozen?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, your
my bad.
video
We
is
can
like
hear
frozen,
you,
but we can
though.
hear your voice. So
No,
no,
we can
As long as you
hear
hear my
your
voice, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
No, I was there when Jimmy Buffett came to Pizza Hut Park, and he played there. And the Parrot Heads are absolutely insane, and they're great people. And I guarantee that was
Yeah.
a better showing than what they'll have when Messi comes in. I'm not hating on Messi, but I'm just telling you that they don't care
Are you
about
hating on
soccer
FC
in Dallas.
then? What?
No, they don't care about soccer in Dallas. Dallas does not
Hmm.
care about soccer.
We'll see. Me and Jeff will let you know how hard it was to get tickets and how good the game was.
When Josh
And-
Hamilton said, baseball, like Texas is not a baseball or Dallas is not a baseball town. Yeah, it's even less of a soccer town.
Well, first off,
Hands
Josh Hamilton's
down.
an idiot because it is a baseball town. Look at what's going on with the Rangers right now.
Well, yeah, because they're
they were selling
winning.
out the new stadium
They're
before they got
winning.
these players.
They're winning.
They were doing this last year. They sold out their new stadium, even when they had a losing team.
Even when Josh Hamilton said that, I sat there and thought about it. Is as mad as I was that he said it, I sat there and thought about it and go, you know what? He's right. Dallas is a winning town. If you're winning, they will show up. When the Stars are winning, they show up. When the Mavericks are winning, they show up. When the Rangers are winning, they show up.
Now, I will say it's way more. Dallas Cowboys own this town. They do.
Yes, that's why
up.
I said when the Cowboys are playing, they show up. When
are you going
to other teams are winning,
on the entire fan base
up.
and say it's only when they win?
It is.
Are you calling them Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh fans still show up even when they lose. They boo them and tell them they suck. Because I've been at Pirate games where they're like, you bums suck. They've done that.
Yep.
They still show up to the games. Well, it's at Pirate games, but that's fine because then Pirate games are $10 a ticket, so I'm okay with it.
You think Messi's going to be at the Jake Paul Nate Diaz fight on? The Jake Paul Nate Diaz boxing fight on Saturday.
Why would he?
No, because it's Messi. That's the hottest show in town the day before he plays.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if he's there, but if I was him, I wouldn't, because I wouldn't care about Jake Paul.
I agree with you on the Jake Paul
will start at $199 and will be available at price points of $199, $249, $399, $499.
That's for the Jake Paul fight?
No, this is for the FC Dallas Inter Miami.
Jeez.
Y'all need to no. Now I know Caleb knows, but Chris Porter, you need to freaking realize how big of a deal this is.
Those tickets go for like $50 to $20 normally.
Okay, I wouldn't pay $50 to go watch FC Dallas. I wouldn't do it.
No, you're going to be paying $200. That's what we're saying. It's 4 times.
Messi.
I would not pay that.
You're seeing Messi. You're seeing the Michael Jordan.
Watch Messi sit there and embarrass my team? Oh, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, why do I want to sit there and watch my team get embarrassed by allegedly the best player in soccer who came here to abuse lower quality talent? Yeah, I'm going to spend $200 for that. Sounds
FC
great.
Dallas is not one of the lower teams, okay? FC Dallas is one of the better teams in the league.
Get your ticket tomorrow, and we can go.
Okay,
I have a free weekend.
I'm not going to spend $200 to watch my team get
That's how
abused.
much we care, Porter.
We'll skip
good.
Enjoy
it. Go ahead. Have fun. Enjoy it. Watch your team get their asses waxed by an over the hill soccer player. That's fine. Go ahead. Enjoy it. Pay that money for that.
Who's responsible for Argentina winning this World Cup? I cannot believe
this year he has done it before, but when was the last time they won the World Cup?
Back when they
5 months ago in November.
Okay, they won it then. Good for them.
They had Luis Alvarez. They won 2, I think, with him.
Yeah,
back in like the 80s, maybe 70s.
No. They had to hit God with Maradona, and that was
he can take his pink uniform and just trot all over FC Dallas all he wants to. If I was in Dallas, I'm not paying $200 to go see that. I don't care. I'm sorry, I don't. I'm not going to sit there and watch him just completely wax the home team's ass. No, I'm not going to do it.
I'm disappointed in you.
Yep.
You can be disappointed in me all you want to. I've never been a huge soccer fan. I've never enjoyed it. I've watched the World Cup once in my entire life because
I think we should just leave Porter frozen like
I
this.
was not raised as a soccer fan, and I'm just not a huge soccer fan. That's fine. People can not like things. It's okay that I don't like it. That's
drank
okay.
Like a gallon of whiskey here in like 10 or in 6 minutes.
I don't have to like things. I can still, you know what? In our little pre-warm up last week, I brought up stuff about Messi just to give you guys some talking points because I cared about you. I don't care about soccer.
Oh, you did. You did this as an altruistic.
All right, he's such a
I
gracious
did.
host.
Thank you.
I did because I wanted to do something
Thank you
nice
so
to help
much.
you guys out
Thank you.
because you two idiots like to sit here and talk about soccer. No one in the United States gives a shit about soccer. And Messi can come over here and play. It's not going to change any difference. No one's going to change anything about soccer. No one cares because football's king around here and basketball's right underneath that. Then you go to baseball and then you got hockey right after that. So MLS is definitely going to still be number 5 and maybe even 6 because I think lacrosse could even overtake it.
Oh, bull!
Aha!
Lacrosse is not
I
overtaking
said it. I said it, and I'll stand by it. You know what?
Oh,
See,
If
I
it-
was
No,
behind you
if
on
it's
some of your
not-
comments, but
you
that
know what?
just
If
made
it's if it's not lacrosse, I'll let rugby overtake it because I'd rather watch
No.
rugby than MLS.
Wow.
Yeah, you go to
Oh.
Arlington then. Go to Arlington then.
I would
Yeah.
rather watch
You know,
rugby
your big
or
brother, Gary
I would
Muller,
rather
has
watch.
season tickets, so
I
go
would
ahead.
rather watch
Go ahead.
professional rugby or lacrosse over soccer any day. They're much better to watch and much more enjoyable. I said it.
Get out
Yeah, I
of here.
said
Get
it.
out
I
of here.
said it.
Realize-
It's a better product. It's a better
You don't
product.
realize the importance of this. You're acting like
There's
that's
no
cricket
importance.
player came
Okay,
over to
hey,
town.
go live in England then. Go enjoy it over there. Go ahead and enjoy Premier League stuff because we don't care about it over here in America. You know what? You know what? Since 1776, I haven't had to care what England gives a shit about. And exactly, I don't even care about soccer.
Royal
Get outta
ceremonies
here.
Let me kick your
BS.
ass.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I didn't watch
Yep.
it.
I didn't
No,
watch
I
it either,
didn't.
but
No,
my
get
God,
outta
was
here.
it everywhere.
I would rather watch any rugby match. I'd rather watch any, professional rugby or lacrosse match over soccer. I find it more enjoyable. I think it's both better sports. I'd rather watch either one of them.
Oh, goodness.
Personally, that's my personal opinion. I'm not saying everyone in the world should watch it better. That's just personally what I would prefer to watch.
Do you realize you just don't realize the importance of this?
I don't care.
That's more the problem, I think, Jeff. He
Here.
doesn't care. It's not that he
Do you-
doesn't realize it. It's that he has no
Do you
importance
see?
of it put in it.
Do you just see this empty field? This is where my fucks are grown. There are none there.
Late night eyes upon the barren field.
Yes.
No, all I see you doing is drinking an empty cup of whiskey.
No. It's actually got a bunch right here. See it? It's right there. There it is. I haven't drank it
This
all
has
yet.
made him switch over to water. He
I mean,
got whipped and
I'm
had to switch
glad.
over to water.
I am glad that you both are so, Twitter-pated that Lionel Messi is going to grace you with his presence.
We're not Twitter-pated.
Yes, you are Twitter-baited. No. It's Michael Jordan of soccer. This is the best thing that's ever happened to here. Okay, that's great. I'm glad you're happy. I don't care. And a lot of people don't care about soccer, and that's fine. Because soccer, yes, okay, if soccer was great in America, I think I sent you both the other week a reel that had a guy that said, okay, yeah, if soccer was the biggest sport in America, LeBron James would be, the freaking goaltender, and you'd have all these different players because they would be focused on soccer because that would be the money that they're making. But the thing is, it's not the biggest sport in the United States. And that's fine. Soccer's a good sport. My kid loves playing it.
But this is a monumental event.
It's
And
not
not
only that,
monumental.
Like I said,
In
Jeff,
the
it's not the
city of
fact that he
Dallas. It's a
doesn't get it.
city
It's
of-
the fact that he doesn't even care to even try to understand it. That's the
No,
craziness. Like you would
to
pick
me-
rugby and lacrosse to actually
Okay,
beat that.
You know what? Messi coming in the MLS to come play at FC Dallas is like, okay, Michael Jordan's with the Wizards coming to come play the Dallas Mavericks. That's what it is. Because
Still
as a
must-see
kid,
TV.
as a
I'd pay a
kid,
ticket for that.
I
20
remember
points per
coming.
game he was
I
averaging.
remember going to see, the one time I got to see the Bulls play the Mavericks.
Mhm.
It was the first year that Michael Jordan was retired. and it was a letdown. And at that point, it was like, what's the fucking point? And that let me down. So, okay, that's great. You're seeing Messi play. Fantastic. It's basically it's Michael Jordan with the Wizards. He's not at his prime anymore. Okay, that's great. But he's not the player that he was 10, 15 years ago. He's not. And if that's cool with you, that's cool. Good for you. I'm not hating on anybody who wants to see it.
If it wasn't for him, they would not have won that World Cup.
Okay, Argentina wouldn't have won that World Cup. I don't give two shits about Argentina. I care about the United States.
Well, let's not bring up the Women's World Cup then and how that.
They're fucking terrible right now. They're fucking terrible right now. And Megan Rapinoe, she deserves this. She
really messed up that second half. I feel she
deserves.
Ashley Sanchez should have been brought into that game, but I think the coaching is at the fault right now.
It's gonna blow up the.
It's not gonna blow it up. It's not gonna blow it up. It's gonna be a fucking blip on the sports radar. Like it will be. When you pull up ESPN's app, if Messi scores 3 goals against FC Dallas, that'll be the 6th story on the news report when you pull up their app.
Oh, horse shit.
That's exactly what it would be, because no one cares. No one cares. They don't care about soccer. They don't.
Oh,
it's not a money driver. It's not. They don't care. They don't care. Don't care. Don't care. Don't care. No one cares. 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 Please let us know as you listen to this if you give a shit about soccer. If you do, that's great. I will eat my words. I'm happy to say that I'm wrong. I'm always happy to say that I'm wrong. But when we put this out, we need to have a comment section, because I want to read the comment section and see if people actually agree with you or if they agree that soccer doesn't matter. Because to me, soccer doesn't matter. So if the majority of people agree soccer doesn't matter, then you can quit being dramatic.
You're the one that's
leave it to the people.
Right. What?
Leave it to the people. I'm not being dramatic. I'm not sitting here holding my head and jumping up and down and everything else that you're doing. I'm just stating
drinking empty glass.
I'm stating facts. I'm stating facts.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Leave it to the people. Let the people decide. If everyone who's listening, go to our social media platforms. Please respond to us. Let us know. You can
Facebook page, comment down below for the
reach
YouTube
out
video.
to all of us. You're welcome. Reach out to us. Let us know about things you want us to talk about, things you want to hear, but also weigh in on our conversations. This is great conversation for you to weigh in on. Weigh in on with us. Let us know. Does Messi coming to Dallas, is it the huge deal? The Super Bowl of freaking MLS that Jeff's making it out to be, or is it just a blip on the sports radar? Like, I think it is just a little, boop, that no one gives a shit about, because no one gives a shit about it. Maybe they'll come in and maybe the Dallasites who just want to be shown on TV and show up like, I'm here. Maybe they'll spend that money and go there. But fucking real fans, no, it's ridiculous. They're not going to spend the money for that. That's absolutely absurd.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. Disagree with me. That's fine. Leave it out there. People, hey, listen in.
Well, let the people have the final
people
say.
Listen in. Hey, write in. Please comment in. Let us know how you feel. We like to know how it is.
Please.
Hey, that's fine. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I'll eat crow. I don't mind. I'll eat a big old crow pie. It doesn't matter. But I don't believe I'm wrong.
Well, when Caleb and I take a picture with him in downtown Frisco.
Yes, because you're the only 2 people who were willing to pay the money to get in there, then absolutely go have fun with that. Do it. Go for it.
Those tickets are already sold out. the Hunt
Yes,
family
by the
already has
fucking
those
Dallasites
tickets.
who are just showing up there to take pictures on their Instagram and
That's my
say, "Oh,
point, the
look, I'm
Hunt
here at the
family.
Messi game. I'm at the Messi game. Look at me." They don't care about the damn game. They don't give two shits about it. They're not even watching the game. They don't even care if Messi scores 6 goals on FC Dallas and blows them out 6-0. They're not going to care. They're there just to show up, to show, oh, look at me. It's all just where I'm at. I spent this much money to be here. That's all it is.
It's a huge deal for the city.
Whatever.
You
No, it's
understand.
not. No, it's not. Super Bowl's a bigger deal
Let's
than
go to
Messi
our
coming
next
in.
one. We've beaten this like a dead horse.
Oh, hell yeah. We wrote this
People
one
will
down
say
and
it.
run to the dirt.
So that other thing that's
Anyways, we'll go ahead and now that we've run some to that, let's go ahead and beat each other up on some NBA news. One thing that I shared out earlier to the group is that Damian Lillard still hasn't been signed or hasn't been traded. I know Portland is, we want to keep everything, but
Yeah.
where does it come to of it's not just them wanting to keep him because of the player that he is. He's getting a little long in the tooth, but he still has 4 years, $216 million left on his contract. So a lot of the story coming out now is a lot of teams aren't wanting to trade for him just because of at the end of that contract, they're owing $60 million to a 35, 36-year-old player.
right.
Yeah, I mean that's a reasonable concern, I'm sure, for some, but to get Damian Lillard for even 2 years, I mean, especially Miami, that would be a landslide for them. I
Well,
think.
that is where
their
he
window
wants.
is right now.
That's where
Well,
he
yeah, that's
wants
where
to
he wants to
go,
go.
but they don't have the trade capital to get him. That's the problem.
Right. And so it's getting to the point now, like, okay, Miami can give, say, 3 or 4 first round draft picks, but they would need a third team to involve this Tyler Hero deal.
And how many years has Tyler Hero been put into trade talks? I mean, it's been 3 years. People are trying to throw Tyler Hero into some trade, and somehow it never happens. I mean, I hear that all the time. Every time anybody brings up Miami in a trade thing, it's Tyler Hero's name is thrown into it, but he never gets traded. So what's up with that?
What if the Mavs are a part of it? Would you want Tyler Hero?
I wouldn't complain. I think he'd be good, a solid piece next to Tyler Hero. To me, as long as he's not being your number one, as long as he's not your Michael Jordan, okay. If he's your raw,
No, what I'm saying is like theoretically at a 3-team deal, you get your.
Oh yeah.
Would
you get Tyler Hero and
would you give up Hardaway and Christian Wood, who you don't even want to re-sign anyway? Would you? Just
I'd take Hero for those two. If that was part of the trade, I would take Hero for that.
Yeah.
If he's
so maybe that's what you do. Maybe the Mavs are the third team. Maybe
it could be a possibility. Although there was a trade that I saw earlier this week that actually involved Christian Wood and Tim Hardaway, and them in a 3-team deal of them sending those two to the Bulls. The Bulls sending DeMar DeRozan to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia sending James Harden to the Mavericks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I saw that, but I don't want Harden at all. I wouldn't touch Harden with a damn 10-foot stick or a 65-inch.
That
65-foot pole. Sorry,
if you get
the Grinch song
Harden and Doncic on the same team.
If you have motivated Harden, I'm not signing. I'm going to force a trade Fat Harden. There's a difference between those two Hardens.
There is, but I don't like either Harden.
But Harden and Kyrie were in Brooklyn together, and that didn't work. I just saw that out there, sent it out to a few
mean,
people. Thought
Can
it
you
was
imagine
kinda
how bad the
interesting.
defense on that team would be with Harden, Doncic, and Irving?
Pretty much as bad as it was this last season after they traded Dorian Finney-Smith.
It would be historically bad. Historic. I don't care how many rebounds or how much Derek Lively impersonates Tyson Chandler. It's just going to be so bad. So bad defensively.
I just saw that trade and had to bring it up because I found it very funny because I do not want Harden on this team. I've never been a fan.
Yeah.
I
got this.
don't want him there.
No, I'm not a fan of the beard at all. Get away. Get him out of here. Let him go ruin another team. That's all he's done these past 4 teams he's been with. He's been cancerous.
Even although
motivated Harden doesn't exist anymore. He's just in it for the money.
I don't blame him for Brooklyn. I kind of blame Kyrie and Durant for Brooklyn. And in Philly, I don't think he really ruined anything in Philly. He seemed to be playing pretty well in Philly. I just think that Joel Embiid, even though he got the MVP, I just don't think he has that leader mentality to take his team to the next level, is what it is.
Maybe. I mean, you got Ben Simmons drama there too, but
yeah. Well, Ben Simmons got traded over to in the Harden trade over to Brooklyn.
That's what I'm saying. But he was there with Harden during that time.
He was, but I just like Joel Embiid. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's one of the best players in the NBA. But I don't know if he has that takeover game leader mentality. Like I just don't think he has it. To me, he reminds me a lot of Patrick Ewing. Like a great player.
Patrick Ewing's, oh my gosh, no, Patrick Ewing would knock you to the floor
who
and take
played it over. No,
Patrick
he
Ewing
didn't
could
go.
do that.
No, he couldn't because he couldn't fucking get the championship.
That doesn't prove you're a bad leader just because you don't win a championship. That's like trying to argue the greatest leader is Michael Jordan because Bill Russell because he got 9.
Well,
Bill Russell's the greatest leader of all time because he has 9. No.
We need someone who can take over the game and win in that championship. And until he does it, he's in the Patrick Ewing conversation. Until he does it, that's what the conversation he's in.
So the Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley conversation. That's what you're saying.
That's where I put Joel Embiid in right now until he can take. If he turns around this next season and they go win the championship, he's out of it then. But
Patrick Ewing and Charles Barkley are still better players than Embiid is.
But he has a ring. Really?
It doesn't matter. You have a ring.
It does.
Got what? 10?
It does matter.
Robert does matter. 10. Is he the greatest field general there is?
That is a completely separate conversation. That's a completely separate conversation.
Rings? You're saying
no,
rings,
it's not
so
just saying rings. It's saying no.
What?
No, that is not what I'm saying. Not at all. That's not what I'm saying. You look at different skill sets, and you look at what we're saying right here. So Joel Embiid has great skill sets, but if he does not achieve a ring, then he is put in the Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley section of great players who have not won a ring, where Dirk would have been put in if he wasn't able to pull out one in 2011.
Yes.
But if he pulls out a ring, he is able to then put himself out of that sector because you've been able to do it and to get a ring. And that's not saying
then what does that have with leadership then? What does that have with leadership?
I was not done talking.
Well, finish.
Joel Embiid, if he's able to, okay, we're circling back right here. So if Joel Embiid ends up getting his ring because another player comes in as the alpha, takes over, and he takes it over as a secondary role, or he gets his ring later in his career because he decides to leave Philadelphia, go and be a Pippen to somebody else's Jordan. No, he's not a better player than Patrick Ewing or Charles Barkley, and in my mind, because he gets a ring, he's done it better. No. If he takes Philadelphia on his shoulders and brings them to a ring as the main player, yes, he is a better player overall than Patrick Ewing or Charles Barkley because he was able to lead the team in every aspect as being the best player out there and winning the championship. So just getting a ring
it's up to me
doesn't
like they're
make him
making two
better.
entirely different arguments, but whatever. I digress.
Yeah. Well, what I mean is just him getting a ring doesn't make him better. Like he could go, he could leave Philadelphia as he's hinted that he's doing, and say say he goes to Dallas. He's not the best player in Dallas. Luka's the best player in Dallas. And he wins a ring there, but he gets a ring. Hey, good, he got a ring. That doesn't put him better as these players who haven't had a ring because he went and ring jumped.
I could agree with that.
But if he takes that extra step like Jokic did over in Denver and leads, not only wins MVP, but wins the whole series. Like he's the reason why they won. Like basically takes over everything.
I mean,
then at that
let
point,
me argue with this because
go for it.
Jokic is the best player in the NBA right now, hands down.
Agreed.
And he did will them, and he's the reason that the Nuggets won that series. But we'll get back to floor general. That was Jamal Murray's role.
Yes.
He was the firing leader up. So, to me, the leader on that team was Jamal Murray, not Nikola Jokic.
Yes, but at the same time, he was the best player. Even though he didn't win MVP this last year because they felt like they had to give it to Embiid because he had won. Jokic had won it the last 2 years prior.
Yeah,
he was still
the same thing.
He was still the best player, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid, yes, he was playing at a quality at that point. Embiid needs to do that again and win a championship to get himself out of the, Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley conversation. Because if he doesn't do it, even if he wins one as a backup player late in his career, because he jumped over to
so he went to the Warriors
ring,
or whatever. Like
he went to ring chase. Well, if he does like Karl Malone at the end of his career when he ran to the Lakers with Gary Payton and everybody else, and they still didn't do it. I mean, that's when you taint your career at that point. I mean, he needs to lead the Sixers to it, and he needs to do it himself. Like Dirk did it with the Mavericks. Yeah, they had a good team they put together, but that was lightning in the bottle, and Dirk led it. And thank goodness he actually got great shooting from Jason Terry in the playoffs. Which
great defense from Kidd and Tyson Chandler
and Sean Marion. I mean, it was lightning in the bottle, yes, but Dirk was the guy. And you don't have to be the guy every single night. Like somebody else can take over one night, but you have to be the guy the majority of the time.
You're the main guy. Yes, we get that. Yeah.
That's what Joel Embiid has to do to get out of that conversation. Because I do agree with you that Patrick Ewing is a better player than Joel Embiid. Charles Barkley was a better player than Joel Embiid. But if he wants to get out of the conversation, he has to lead his team to a championship.
No, fair enough.
He has to lead it. Yes. Yeah, just him getting a ring doesn't make him better than them.
Right.
He has to lead the team to be better than them. That was that was what I was trying to get across. So
okay, I think I misunderstood you a little bit, but I got you now.
Exactly, and that's why I wanted to explain my point, and make sure we're on the same page. So
fair enough. I guess we should get back to Damian Lillard.
Well, we've gotten past that. Damian Lillard's got it. I think with our conversation, Damian Lillard part was taken care of as far as that. It's the same thing that if we just had that conversation goes to Damian Lillard. So we're getting to a point where we need to wrap up. So we're going to go ahead and jump in here real quick. We'll get through this. Some feelings about college realignment. There's rumors going around of Oregon and Washington and Florida State and Clemson that the Big Ten are going for those 4 teams, poaching the ACC and the Pac-12. And just here recently, the Pac-12 lost. They had already lost UCLA and USC to the Big Ten. They just lost Colorado, who's going who before they could join the Pac-12 had left the Big 12, but they're going back to the Big 12 now. So Colorado back to the Big 12 with, yeah. So that's a thing there. There's a lot of movement going on. I mean, Texas A&M or Texas and Oklahoma, as everyone's known for a while, going to the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of realignment and a lot of craziness going on. And with all these changes, the Pac-12 only has, this was a surprise to me, just 2 teams after Colorado, after USC and UCLA leaving, they only have Cal and Stanford are the only 2 California teams left in the Pac-12 at this point. And I found that very surprising. And really, with Texas and OU leaving, the Big 12 had to make some choices, bring some other teams in. They brought BYU in. They brought Houston, teams that have shown that. The Pac-12, if you're going to survive, you need to bring in some quality teams. And really, one of the teams that has really shown a lot here lately that they should really consider is San Diego State.
Yeah.
And not just football, basketball has really.
They made it to the final
basketball
championship.
They did in basketball. And on top of that, in baseball, they've been solid for many, many years. I mean, I'm kind of surprised they haven't made a bid for San Diego.
There's such a big dissection, and all those teams you mentioned go to the Big Ten. I think the Pac-12 just kind of dissolves and breaks up. And
there's a lot of talk about
way.
that happening, but at the same time, it was one of the Big 5 to have that dissolve, and you don't have the Western Athletic Conference dissolve. You don't have the Mountain West dissolve. To me, it's like like they say with the banks, they're too big to fail. Like I just see them. There's too many other good teams in these smaller conferences. I mean, why don't you bring San Diego State? Why don't you bring Boise? Why don't you, look at some of these other schools
like
over
the
here?
Big 12. Like they should have voted in a bunch of teams before this.
True.
And they almost were on the chopping block themselves.
There was
still
talk
losing Texas and OU, but
there was talk
as
soon as Texas and OU were planning of walking to the SEC that, okay, is this the end of the Big 12? Well, then they rebounded. I think this is the same kind of thing. The Pac-12 can still rebound. They just need to look at some other schools, and there's 2 right there.
But they've
Boise
lost
State
their chance.
and San Diego.
They should have gone for, like you said, the San Diego States. They should have added these teams that already at least had both.
They should have, but they haven't lost out on them. San Diego State's still in what the WAC, the Western Athletic Conference.
They're in the Mountain West still.
Yeah. So all you got to do is offer it to them. They're going to jump to go to the Pac-12. That's a huge jump for them. Boise State's been in the Mountain West. Now, where they messed up is they should have gone after BYU before the Big 12 got them. Is what they should have done, but they didn't.
Yeah.
And got BYU over because BYU was independent.
That'd be an interesting matchup with Utah in the Pac-12. I'll give it that much.
It would have been. You would have BYU and Utah to match up right there. That's what they should have gotten ahead of, and you would have at least had something you could market with that.
Right.
I mean, other than that, if you're trying to go geographically, which is what they have to do, because you're not going to get any of the Eastern teams to go to the Pac. You're just not.
No.
You're not. You have to go geographically. No. Maybe you have UNLV. But you're really, really stretching at that point. Idaho doesn't have anything else but Boise State. Once you have Boise State, that's it. And it just really hurt the conference with USC and UCLA walking. But I don't blame them because of the money they're going to make from the Big Ten. It's absolutely ridiculous compared to what they were making in the Big 12 or the Pac-12. Apologies.
Yeah, UCLA and USC moving to the Big Ten was seen at the conference. So
it does. But still, it still makes no sense to me. I know the money makes sense, but at the same time, geographically, that's going to be rough on these
It
players
is.
and these teams. And
Yep. I mean,
It's
what
almost
also
the
too?
almighty
What happens
dollar.
to the Pac-12 network? That's almost worthless now.
no,
Well, it was already
absolutely
worthless to begin with. That's the
Yeah, I
I
can
can
problem,
agree with that.
right?
Mhm.
Because when did USC and UCLA really even play on the Pac-12 network unless they were playing, say, Washington State?
Yeah.
They were always on visible
One of the prime
television.
channels. They were the big
Mhm.
movers.
So
Yep.
doesn't matter. And I don't mean to offend Washington State Cougar fans, but
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what you came out
Right.
here to do was offend Washington State.
that's all I want to contribute here.
You're just mad they let Mike Leach go before R.I.P. Rest his soul.
Yeah.
That was his decision.
Very true.
Well, gentlemen, I think we've covered a great deal tonight. We've really jumped into everything and had a great inaugural episode here. We'd like to thank everyone for joining us here. And like I said, reach out to us on our social media platforms, whether it be Facebook, Instagram. Reach out to us, email us. We'll get that all set up and have it. You can reach out to us. Let us know what you want to hear us talk about. What you want us to give our opinions on, or if you'd like to absolutely disagree with us and tell us that we're jackasses for whatever we're talking about. By all means, please reach out to us. That's the way we build this community. We make this into something great. We want to hear from you, and we want to talk about what you want to hear about. So please reach out to those social media platforms. That way we can interact with you and we can talk about not only what we want to talk about, but what you want to hear us talk about and have our opinions and start working on to getting all those. And you know what? Hey, bring your opinion on. We'll call you out here on our on the show. We'll say, hey, this is a story that's been brought up by this person. We'd like to thank them for reaching out. We'll do what we can to make you famous. So let us know what's going on. We'd love to hear from you. And for Caleb Culver and Jeff Amos, this is Chris Porter. We'd like to thank you all for joining us on Next Round Sports. We'll see you in the next round. Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Thank y'all.
Buenas noches.